Samstagnachmittag, 22. Juli 2023. Welcome to the Playoffs. Hier heute Spiel 1 der Viertelfinalserie zwischen dem Nordmeister Bonn Capitals als Heimmannschaft und den München Haar Disciples als unsere Gäste. Wir fangen zunächst an mit der Mannschaftsaufstellung unserer Gäste aus München. Und die geht los als Lead-Off-Startmann mit der Nummer 45, der Third Baseman Patrick Musik. Die Nummer 72 trägt der Second Baseman Simon Lechner. Im Right Field mit der Nummer 10 der Tashan Thomas. Der Shortstop trägt die 26, Callum Murphy. Im Centerfield die 36, Josef Rosenthal. Der DH mit der Nummer 2, Lukas Wickel. Der Catcher mit der 34, William Thorpe. Der First Baseman die Nummer 67, Miguel Pinero. Im Left Field die 11, Neil Schmidt.
Hello and welcome to the Baseball Bundesliga playoffs from the Rheinauer here in Bonn. It's the reigning champs and hometown Bonn Capitals facing off against the fourth place finishers from the south, the Haar Disciples. Got a good one ahead of us. I'm Tom Paulus, joined by Brent Kerrigan, Angela Beckmann, Max Paulus and Fabian Thiesing. Brent, with the playoffs starting and tensions building, what are the keys to the game for both teams to win today's series opener?
Well, Tom, great to be here. Great to see everybody on such a beautiful day as the players come out, and I think we're going to hear the anthem shortly. We may get cut into, maybe we pause for those. Three keys to victory I've identified, Tom, as we look to today's game. The first one, if you're Bonn, pitching, and maybe even just mediocre pitching should get the job done today. I mean, look at the stats. They clearly show Haar as a very mid to low-end team in almost every aspect of offense. Any category you look at. Haar, last in the league with hits at 133, last in the league with home runs with only 4. As a team, Haar has only a 333 on-base percentage, 240, 274 slugging percentage. So, pitching is key. Number 2, they need to show sparks of life, Bonn does, that really, let's admit it, a lot of parts of the season, they've been without it. If they're going to go far in the playoffs, that passion needs to return. There have been flashes, but they need to muster all the energy in the reserves if they're going to succeed. So that's number 2. Number 3, don't live on reputation alone. Keep on pushing. Bonn was in first place in the league this year. They finished first with a 22-8 record, but some of those wins were not pretty, and a lot of the losses look pretty bad sometimes as well. They're vulnerable for the reasons we just mentioned. They need to find another gear. Haar finished the season 10-14, but as we saw in the game against Doran last week, nothing is guaranteed in the playoffs.
Oh, thanks a lot. And I think I will just get started on the lineups before I might get cut off by the anthem just shortly. Starting with the guests from Haar and the Haar Disciples. As we'll have to see if there's going to be an anthem. And I feel like there is, so we'll hear that and then put you back
good,
right
Tom.
after. Now getting to the lineup, starting with the guests from Haar. The Disciples. Leading off for them is third baseman wearing number 45, Patrick Music, followed by second baseman Simon Lechner and right fielder Nate Thomas. Callum Murphy is gonna bat cleanup and play shortstop. 5 through 7 is center fielder Josef Rosenthal, DH Lucas Bicke, and catcher William Thorpe. And Miguel Pinheiro, the first baseman, and left fielder Neil Schmidt will round out the Haar batting order. On the Bonn side, it's going to be shortstop Eric Brink leading off. What a surprise.
No surprise there.
But he's going to be followed by someone who hasn't been in the 2 spot all season long. It's going to be first baseman Wilson Lee. Daniel Lampunt playing second base, batting third, followed by Tara Joyce, who's going to be DHing today. Vinny Arends catching and batting fifth, followed by left fielder Phildrick Llewellyn, right fielder Anthony Klinsing, third baseman Danny Sanchez, and batting ninth is going to be center fielder Daniel Lankhorst. Completing the lineups is the umpiring crew, which is going to be Harald Fötzky working the plate, Kevin Music is going to be at first base, and Andreas Danielczyk umpiring third. Brent, starting pitchers for tonight are for Nick Michelli on the side of the Haar Disciples and Titus von Kapp for the Capitals. What can you tell us about these guys?
I can tell you one thing. That one name sounds familiar to me. Nick Michelli. Where have I heard that before, Tom?
Might have heard him on a Bonn roster just last season.
Oh, that must be it. Okay, absolutely so, yes, of course. Michelli is now pitching for Haar. And let's take a look at what he features. Fastball, changeup, and a slurve. Now, we know he played for the Capitals last year, where he was mainly a catcher utility guy. He's American-born, but he's got Portuguese heritage. That's why he's eligible to throw in Game 1. His record, he's 3-2. That's pretty good for Haar. With a really good ERA of 2.25, he's got 47 strikeouts in 48 innings played. Not many walks, about 13 of them. Now, as a batter, his strength is, of course, as a pitcher right now. As a batter, he's hitting, let's just, for the benefit of sounding positive, late in the 100s. Let's say that. For Bonn, we are looking at Titus von Kapp. He joined the Capitals in a bit of a reverse from what we were just saying, from Haar before the 2023 season. His fastball is in the range of 87 to 92. He features a changeup and a curveball, and he started in 6 of his 15 appearances, and he has come through. We watched him just a couple of weeks ago, Tom, and he's one of these guys that really they've counted on in the last part of this season, together with Brank and Jorfanidis as well. So we're going to need all the help they can get on the mound. And as I said at the beginning, I think even a mediocre game is going to get them through this one with this lineup. Well, look at the numbers that we're looking at.
I mean, the team batting average for the Haar Disciples is at 198, which, as you mentioned, is the lowest in all of the Bundesliga this season. Lowest hits, lowest home runs. So their pitching is definitely their stronger part than their offense is.
Yeah, it sounds like my batting line, to be honest with you. That team batting line sounds like mine if we're on a generous day.
Yeah, and Titus von Kapp, he really had to grow into this kind of long relief starting guy with the injuries, multiple injuries of Sascha Koch this season, where he wasn't planned to be a starter when they acquired him. He's a young guy. They figured, we can build him up as a reliever, and maybe one day he'll be a starter. But right now, to start the playoffs, they need him to start Game 1. And the first pitch, called strike number 1 at the top of the zone. He's facing third baseman Patrick Music, the Haar Disciples.
Hits majority where he has hit into left field. Seems to be his power alley.
And one of actually just a few guys with a batting average of above 200.
233 to be precise. Let's give him that 33% on that because I again, we're not trying to make fun or make light of it, but it's a challenging thing when you're batting as a team.
Music goes down swinging on 4 pitches. High fastball by von Kapp, too much for him to handle. So quick strikeout for out number 1 to start off today's game. And Simon Lechner, the second baseman, Batting from the left side is going to be first one trying to get the ball in play.
Yeah, and his average on the year, 221. He's got a slugging percentage of 294. Bats from left side. Wow, that wind is really kicking up there, Tom.
It sure is, and dusting in the pitcher a bit as it down there from home plate towards the pitcher's mound. He still found the zone, even through all that dust and all that ash. And that pitch is just outside.
It's a beautiful night for baseball, though, at late afternoon, I guess, and the wind is
It is a
blowing
bit
out.
earlier, though, than what we're used to. Our disciples not too keen on playing a full game under the lights at night, so first pitch a bit earlier at a couple minutes past 5 p.m.
Is that why? Because of the lights?
It is.
They didn't want to play any later.
Exactly. They don't have any lights in their home ballpark, so they're not really used to it.
Aren't we a nice team? A nice host.
Exactly, and as that one finds the zone, count is full to our second baseman.
Bunkhoff looking good right from the beginning.
He is.
It's probably sorry, step on you there, Tom. Steps out probably just to slow the pace down a bit.
Bunkhoff really pacing up the game nicely, and he calls for that, but gets called off by the third baseman, Danny Sanchez. Probably a good thing. As an infielder, you never want to leave that up to your pitcher. As Lechner is retired, puts together a solid at-bat, 66 pitches, but is retired. You do the pop out, so 2 quick outs. And now Nate Thomas, the number 3 hitter in the Disciple lineup in right field. So batting from the left side.
255 average. One of the hotter hitters in the lineup.
That one just misses inside. T-Swing Cup asking, plate umpire, if that indeed did miss inside. As that one.
The wind is blowing out to left center, so I'm feeling, Tom, you get that ball up high enough today, and with Bonn's,
it might carry a lot.
Yeah, with their potential power, I think you could possibly see some balls heading out. For Haar, not sure.
Nick Michelli, of course, is a really good pitcher. I mean, it's the pitching that has carried them into the playoffs. I mean, we're going to talk about the paths to the playoffs in just a bit. As that one's fouled back for strike number 2.
Yeah, it looked like he was on that one. Fouled straight back.
So the count is 2 balls, 2 strikes. Cup just 1 strike away from a really good, really solid first inning. Looks like he's pretty much in control so far. And the 2-2 pitch, slow curveball, but way outside. Pretty easy take there.
It was interesting. We were talking about that. We mentioned the home runs, and 4 home runs in the season for Haar. Now, Terrell Joyce joined halfway through, twice as many, more than such.
All on his own, but of course he's special. He's leading the league in home runs, so he's not your everyday hitter. As Nate Thomas is the first base runner of tonight's game. Yeah, the base on balls, speedy guy on first. And it's going to be interesting to see right off the bat how aggressive our Disciples want to play it. We mentioned it a couple of times. Batting average is not too high, so might see some action on the base paths. Not going on the first pitch, as that fastball's right in there for strike number 1 against shortstop Callum Murphy.
One has to think that they're going to try, with the averages being as they are, they're going to try and get those runners going.
As that one's hit hard through the left side and the base hit. Phildrick Llewellyn feeling that out in left field, gets it in quickly, so no chance for Nate Thomas to advance. But first hard hit ball of the night is a base hit, which puts the first runner in scoring position for the Disciples.
2-out walk is, we repeat this, it seems, every week. 2-out walk will get you every time. But that was a nice play by Llewellyn and left to pick that ball up, keep him at second base, and hopefully limit the damage.
Yeah, he hit that a bit too hard right to Llewellyn. So no chance for Nate Thomas to advance, but they got a runner in scoring position early, making some noise as Josef Rosenthal, the center fielder, steps in. RBI opportunity right off the bat. There's that one just high. Oh, called strike number 1.
Yeah, we look at the hits that the balls that he's been hitting. He hits mainly into the center field area. Not a high average, but again, if the wind's blowing out, he gets that up high enough, it could cause some damage. So let's keep an eye.
With Von Kapp being up there, velocity-wise, from quite the bigger amount of Bundesliga pitchers. I mean, there's not a lot of guys that can throw 90 in the Bundesliga. If you barrel one up, as we just saw with Callum Murphy's swing, can go somewhere, as that one's grounded to short. Eric Brink takes the short throw to Daniel Lampund at second base. So a 2-out walk and a single, but no runs for the Haar Disciples. We played half an inning, no score here on Caps TV. Probably the best looking playoff stash that there is. Just finished his last warm-up pitch.
That's sweet. It does look good.
Fits the vibe so nicely as well.
He didn't have that when he was here, right?
No, he didn't. He used to have it for the playoffs. And I think I saw Frederick Llewellyn on the Capitals also rocking that.
Yeah. We're talking about Michelli, of course, on the mound. Brank still stashless, I believe.
Yeah, he is. Just rocking his natural. As you just mentioned, there was something happening out in Hamburg, where the other playoff game happened.
Big news out of Hamburg. Hamburg beats Regensburg 3-2 on a walk-off wild pitch. So big news there, but I'm not sure anybody expected that outcome, and maybe not quite as dramatic as that.
I mean, Regensburg did only finish in 3rd place in the Southern Bundesliga. As Eric Brank gets a hard line drive into left center field, and that's going to get down. Is he going to try to stretch that into a double? No, he takes a big turn, but a good play by the Haar center fielder, Josef Rosenthal, to get that in quickly and to hold Eric Brank to a leadoff single, but he just keeps on doing what he's been doing all season long. Hit hard line drive somewhere towards the gaps.
That's certainly true, Tom. He's always one of those dependable guys. It was interesting he didn't go for second. I mean, look, the throw was there. It was bobbled, but I was wondering if he might just try to stretch that out as well. But that's the second time now we've seen a hard hit, and they get it back in quickly. So, nice tight game already.
With him having 18 or 19 stolen bases on the season, we might see him try to get second base that way. Next up to bat is Wilson Lee, first baseman. As that one gets away from the catcher, William Thorpe, bobbles it and can't gather it quickly. So Eric Brank does get second base eventually on the wild pitch. And there's a runner in scoring position right away for the Capitals.
Yeah, remember a couple of games, Brank, by just sheer will, stealing a couple of bases. Was first, he got second, then to third, and then I remember almost a steal of home.
As Nick Michelli, knowing there's a speedy guy out there, steps off towards second base, but no movement there.
I'm going to assume that the team really counted on Michelli to give him some insight into the Bonn team as well, and perhaps likewise by Von Kapp.
It is always great, I feel like, for both sides to know the other pitcher, or for Michelli to know the opposing batters and know maybe their weaknesses, their strengths, where to pitch, where not to pitch. It's definitely a bit of a different approach if you know these guys so well.
Yeah, and they played together for years.
And there's not a lot of new guys in the Bonn offense, so Nick Michelli will know most of these guys. As that one is low to Wilson Lee. Counts 3 balls, no strikes.
Yeah.
And Nick Michelli not too happy about those last 2 ball calls by Harald Fetzke behind the plate.
Might not be able to see very well because that stash is maybe getting in his eye line. No.
Not that big just yet.
It's not a Magnum PI one.
That one up around the top of the zone, called strike number 1. Seen a couple of those that seem pretty high called strikes so far. We'll see if that trend continues, but still a great hitters count, of course, for Wilson Lee at 3-1. The guy out there at second base trying to get him in, and a good changeup.
Yeah.
Good off-speed pitch by Nick Michelli. Got him way out in front. I mean, he does have the confidence to throw a 3-1 changeup in the first, so.
4 home runs on the year for Wilson Lee. That sounds a little low to me.
It does. He has had some better seasons, but he's been struggling a bit for longer parts of the season. As that one, another close miss, and now catcher William Thorpe asking the home plate umpire where that missed. Definitely wanted that called a strike. It looked like a very close pitch. Nonetheless, ball 4. So Wilson Lee reaches first base on the base on balls.
Yeah, Michelli, you could see his body language after that pitch was called, and it was a close pitch, but they really wanted and needed that one.
Sure did. So important if you rely that much on your very good starting pitching and know there's not too much offense coming behind that. You know you have to get off to a good start on the mound and on defense. And there's been a couple close pitches called against Nick Michelli to start this game. As that one misses low to Daniel Lampunt.
Yeah, there's no let up in this lineup if you're facing the Capitals. Big offense, big numbers. 1 through 5, 6 at least.
I mean, in the 6th hole, there's Phildrick Llewellyn hitting over 340. So
exactly. No, so it's looking good. Hey, you know, Tom, you know what we should talk about a bit is how both teams got here, really.
Sure, let's do it.
Maybe for some of those who are listening, that they don't know Haar very well, and likewise, there's some Haar fans listening in. So we'll try and do that as we navigate this inning as well. But really, as we were saying, it's been an up and down season for Bonn. They finished 22-8 on the season. 2 things stood out early on, which we mentioned: lack of passion and a lack of pitching. Let's hold on. Let's see this pitch come in.
Big spot early for the Bonn offense, and of course for the Haar pitching and defense. Trying to get out of this mess in the first, as there is an off-speed pitch right in there for strike number 1.
Yeah, so we talked about a bit about that lack of passion. A lot of that resulted in the season where Bonn only secured their playoff spot as Northern winners in two games against Berlin a couple of weeks ago. The end of the season saw the Caps 3 wins ahead of Hamburg and Paderborn. Now, we'll wait for this pitch.
The 1-1 delivery, another breaking ball, as that one finds the top of the zone for strike number 2.
Yeah, so the last time Bonn suffered 8 defeats in a season was 2019. But this year, they did get a boost in the second half with the arrival of Toru Murata, the Japanese gem, as I call him. He's really, really come through in big spots for them.
As that pitch called ball number 2, and bit more emotion shown by both pitcher Nick Michelli and home plate umpire Harald Fetzky. Doesn't like getting any talk from the pitcher, it seems like. Looked like another very, very close pitch.
I like that
fastball.
I like that fire.
It is there. Pumped up, I mean, for Haar. For Nick Michelli, it's his first season on the Disciples and his first game against his old team. He definitely wants to put up a good performance here, and now count is 2-2. I feel like at least every very close call has been going against him so far here in the bottom of the first.
Yeah, let's see. I mean, he's got if Michelli's gone out of this game, he's got to be careful. If he's gone, I think there goes victory for Haar. Really, I think it's that important.
Here's second good pitcher we're going to see starting tomorrow. Is that breaking ball left upstairs, ball number 3. So another full count.
Let's finish off this bit on Haar. How did Haar get here? Well, the short story is that the Disciples got in on the strength of the last 5 games. I think they lost their first 7. So if you were to tell somebody back when they were 0-7 that they'd be in this position now, they'd be surprised.
3-2 pitch by Michelli. Ball 4, and that's going to load the bases. So Michelli struggles continue as he's not able to retire any of the first 3 batters he faces. The bases are loaded with nobody out And power hitter, Carol Joyce coming up.
Yeah, so let's finish this up fast. We want to get to this hitter. So the Haar is a tough task ahead of them. That's a severe understatement. Their only semifinal appearance in the club's history dates back to 2017, and it was against who, Tom?
Against the Bonn Capitals,
That's
where they
right.
lost their only semifinal so far. Now facing them in the quarterfinals as fourth place finishers in the South. And now big trouble for Nick Michelli and the Haar Disciples, having to face Terrell Joyce with the bases loaded and nobody out as that first pitch breaking ball. Bit of a checked swing there by Joyce. Maybe feels like he should have taken a full hack at that, as that looked pretty straight through the strike zone, pretty central.
Yeah, so Joyce, 371 average on the season. And if you're wondering, 8 home runs, leading the league.
Now down 0-1. The pitch swings and misses. Back pick to first base. That's a close play. Good idea by the catcher, William Thorpe, who saw Daniel Lampund was taking a pretty big secondary lead.
He was.
Just got his hand back in to the base.
Yeah, Joyce took a mighty swing at that one. He wanted that one.
He did, and the way things have been going, that wouldn't have been a strike probably on that low pitch. Now he's down 0-2.
Big pressure here in Bonn for the Capitals to capitalize, so to speak, on this early.
I mean, it's so important to get off to a good start in the best-of-5 series. As that one's chopped to shortstop, who bobbles the ball, shovels it to third base, but not in time. So everybody's safe. Our Disciples still struggling to make an out, as it was going to be a tough play for shortstop Callum Murphy for sure. It didn't help that he bobbled the ball once and then shoveled it to third. It was a bit late, and was safe at third.
If he would not have bobbled that ball, he would have had that play at third. I'm thinking it would have been close. As we see now, the coach comes out to settle Michelli down, probably to send the message, look, don't worry so much about the umpire. Just throw your pitches. We're either going to get the calls or we're not. We've got to focus on the fact that the bases are loaded and that you are still in the middle of the hottest part of the lineup.
And also that they are down already, with Eric Brink scoring on that play, 1-0 early.
Yeah, and hardly a surprise that Brink is the one to cross the plate first. Seems to be the straw that stirs the drink, as use an old phrase from the mid-'80s. You may not remember those, Tom.
Hardly.
Mr. Strawberry.
My mid-'80s are a bit blurry. Gotta be honest. But the league leader in runs scored just scored another run to make it 1-0. Still nobody out and the bases loaded, and the next hitter is not an easy one to face as well. It's catcher Vinny Arends.
Yeah, Joyce has been so good this year so far.
As he takes a bit of an odd hack on that changeup.
Nice midseason pickup too.
Sure was. But do we score that in an infield single, or was it an error?
To me, it's an error. That's an error. You have to come up at least with the ball. He bobbled the ball. When he had it, it cost them a run. To me, it's an error.
All right. I'll trust your judgment on that.
Yeah, we'll see if the official score, so to speak, is giving that an error. Let me take a look. Indeed, they have marked it an error.
All right. I'm always going to trust your judgment from now on.
Well,
as we see the infield of Haar shifted quite a bit to the right against the lefty hitter, as that one's pop fly mile high. Who's going to get there? Center fielder calls off the second baseman, and very shallow center field, so they do end up making the first out, and additionally so, no run scores in the play.
And smart to hold him at third base. Here Wilson Lee is on third base. It was far too shallow.
It sure was. And also, good decision by center fielder Josef Rosenthal to call off a second baseman, because when a second baseman has to make an over-the-shoulder catch on plays like that, sometimes you can think about tagging up because it's an awkward throw home. The center fielder just coming in, making the catch and a quick throw. No chance to score. Score remains 1-0 in favor of the Bonn Capitals. Bases remain loaded. Now one down for Phil Llewellyn. Also rocking a nice stash out there to start off the playoffs.
Not too bad. Not sure if it's Michelli quality yet. I'd have to see a side-by-side comparison, but
I don't
looking
think
good.
Gotta say, I like Michelli's a little bit better. It's a little fuller and like.
No, it is. It's very bushy. It's high quality.
As that breaking ball falls, stays outside.
Mustache is also handy, perhaps, if you're muttering under your breath at the calls the umpire may or may not be giving you.
And that one stays high fastball. So after not getting the call on 2 breaking balls low, Michelli goes for the high fastball but misses. 3 balls, no strikes. And I do think anything but a take sign here would be a big surprise.
I would agree.
But I'm willing to be surprised and see Llewellyn take a swing at this
He's been
one.
a hot hitter lately, so yeah, you're right all the way.
That one called strike in number 1.
Look at Michelli look up. He's like, well, thank you very much. Gave him a little bit of a Bronx cheer.
It also doesn't help that the umpire kind of has a slow motion to signal a strike. As that one
Also
called a strike. Strike number 2. That was exactly the pitch that wasn't called a couple of times earlier on in the inning that Nick Michelli and his catcher were complaining about. Got it this time, so another full count. Bases loaded, 1 out for Llewellyn.
But I noticed Michelli has been keeping his composure.
He has. As that's a line drive, base hit into right field. 1 run scores. The second runner is held rounding third as that one comes in quickly from right fielder Nate Thomas. But that's just the second hit for the Bonn Capitals in this inning. But they score the second run of the game, doubling their lead. Everyone moves up 90 feet, as that was a nice piece of hitting for Llewellyn in a 2-strike count.
It was. Llewellyn has been looking good. Recently, of course, he came through and hit the winning run last week in Doran, against Doran. I saw Liam Hunt here at third base. There were some thoughts of sending him on that one, but look, I mean, there's only 1 out.
And again,
bases are full.
That one was hit very hard and right to the right fielder, who got it in quickly. So tough to score on that if the throw's on line.
Yeah.
The bases remain loaded. 2 runs are in for Anthony Klinsing, who watches out fastball for strike number 1.
Exactly. You don't want to be risking it this early on when you know the hitters behind you are good. Why run into an out? As most of the major league teams that I'm watching lately are doing. I have never seen such bad base running in all my years of watching baseball, at least in the major leagues. If you'll excuse this slight tangent, but it's such an important thing. But good running there.
But I feel like the base running problems are pretty Blue Jay specific.
Heard
you talk about that a couple of times already, but like I feel like.
Listen, that's a low blow. I'm not saying it's an inaccurate blow, but it's a low blow.
How's that? Fastball finds the top of the zone. There hasn't been any complaints from the side of the Haar disciples about the pitches that are towards the higher parts of the strike zone.
No, but it's shifted a bit, hasn't it?
Yeah, but it's been pretty tall so far all game.
Yeah.
But now
they're getting more of those calls.
They are. As that breaking ball in the dirt, good block, and also good job by Anthony Klinsing to not swing at that.
Yeah, it was a good block. If that ball gets by the catcher, you know, you're looking at 3-0 already with that low team average of Haar. I mean, it's a decisive ball. So.
They need to get out of this inning with no more damage, that's for sure.
Only 1 out still.
Another 2-2 pitch, breaking ball. That stays up for ball number 3. So once again, the count is full for the Bonn Capitals. If anything, they're really driving the pitch count up early here.
Klinsing, 286 on this season. I mean, he's 35 at-bats.
As that one's in there. Fastball, called strike 3.
That'll end that.
Right down there on the bottom of the zone, where the calls are now slowly coming. I mean, Michelli will have to keep his composure because he already got a pretty severe warning. Like the second or third time he complained to the umpire.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's exactly what the coach came out to say. He's like, look, you need to be quiet out there because we cannot risk this. Danny Sanchez sporting an average of 261.
And he swings at the first pitch and pops it towards the second baseman, who gets under it and makes the catch. That's going to retire the side, but not before the Caps jump out to an early 2-0 lead. We played an inning here on Caps TV. Top of the second inning, the Haar Disciples coming back to bat, trying to come back in this game as they're down early. And they put on some base runners in the first. Did not manage to score them. So now trying to do a better job of that. Starting off is DH Lucas Pique.
Sporting a .224 average on the regular season.
So all of these hitters in and around the 200 mark in batting average.
It's got 15 hits, 67 at-bats, 7 walks, and 21 strikeouts, if you're wondering. Now, we're right above the bench here in Bonn, and you can hear, give them credit, Haar is still in this game, despite being down 3-0.
And I feel like they kind of want to do it to support their pitcher as well. I mean, they saw Nick Michelli getting frustrated out there. They're trying to get him back into this game and get him all the support they can get him. I mean, it's pretty crazy to think about, though. They won 10 games and lost 14 all season, still barely made it to the playoffs, and that's only because Heidenheim was so strong, only losing 2 games and with a record of 22-2, and also them winning the season series against Stuttgart, who are also 10-14, also finished the season at 10-14, but just because they won more games against Stuttgart than they lost against them.
Well, yes, and we've seen a little bit of a delay here as the catcher has been in the midsection area.
Yeah, that was unlucky. Foul tip right over or under his glove.
Yeah,
that
hurts.
It's a part of being a catcher, I feel like. As we see.
A lot of catchers sing soprano various times of the year.
Swung on and missed. Good pitch by Titus Van Kapp. On 3-2.
Van Kapp has thrown, I believe, about 26 pitches. Yeah, 26 pitches in the game so far. So he's on target. He's looking good so far.
And his pitch count, his possible pitch count, the pitches he can throw is definitely not going to be as high as some veteran starters we see in the Bundesliga who go up to 120 to 150 pitches. I don't think we're going to see that out of Van Kapp, but he can go up there to 80, 90, maybe 100 if he's having a good game, because they need him.
Exactly.
There's not a lot of pitching. There's Toru Murata, who's going to start tomorrow. There's Eric Brenk, who's been really good as a pitcher this season, and there's Yanni Orfanides.
Yeah, Orfanides might be the guy they're going to. Now, if you missed the first part of the game, with Van Kapp, he features really fastball, changeup, and a curveball. So he's one they're counting on.
As that fastball finds the middle of the zone for strike number 1. 2-1 is the count.
How was he at Haar? Do we know much about his season in Haar?
I don't have his stats. I gotta be honest.
I could take a look and find out.
But I mean, he's a young guy, only 22 years old.
Probably not much.
Count now at 3-1 as that one's fouled off to the left.
Oh, just missed somebody. Keep an eye, folks, when you're at the game.
That was hard hitting right above the part of the fence where it goes down to it not being as high as it is in the backstop area. That was a close call over there. Luckily, no one was hit, and the ball went into the bushes.
Luckily, the guy was bald because he would have gotten a haircut.
3-2 pitch, curve ball, way out in front. Whitman just got his bat on the ball. William Thorpe, that is, the catcher. So we'll get another chance at 3-2.
Yeah, he's falling back directly this way. I'm really happy for the screen that's here. No, but if you're at the ballpark, folks, keep an eye on the game. I know it's a lot of fun to so keep an eye on what else is happening around. It's such a nice part, but yeah, always eyes on the game.
So before the next 3-2, Funkop steps off. It's a different pitch.
Yeah, it's not bad. 3-2 full count, and the song right now is Staying Alive. Very clever.
As that one's popped up, is that going to stay in? Wilson Lee under it in foul ground, makes the catch. 2 down. So again, 2 quick outs via strikeout and a pop out, just as we've seen it in the first inning against Funkop. So we'll see if we get another 2-out walk here.
Yeah, this is Miguel Pinheiro, 286 on the season, so I think he's their hottest hitter, so to speak.
He has a pretty low number of at-bats so far.
Yeah.
But definitely up there in the average. And got to give it to the disciple hitters. At least they're really running up the pitch count, in my opinion, so far, as we're still only in the second inning. As that's a high chopper to Eric Brink. Will he get the throw there in time? He does. Wilson Lee makes the catch. 1-2-3 inning. Fotitus Funkop, no runs for the Haar Disciples. After 1.5 innings, still Capitals up 2-0. 9-1-2 up for the Bonn Capitals to start off the bottom half of the second inning. Daniel Lankhorst, newly gray hair for the playoffs.
Wow.
I don't know, but I feel like it might be because he's not able to grow a great mustache.
Maybe.
Could be the reason.
I was thinking he was trying to mimic me with that gray hair.
I don't see any gray hair on you.
Not at all. I hide it very well.
As he hits that high and deep out to deep left field. Left fielder going back, and that tips over the fence off the top of the wall.
Got over.
And Danny Lankhorst, quick work, first pitch swinging and crushes one, just tipping over the fence in deep left field, and that's a lead-off home run. And the Bonn offense keeps on hitting.
That was a beautiful hit on a rope out to left field. And as Tom was saying, boy, that just made it over.
Yeah, I believe I saw it tipping off the black part that's on the very top of the fence and then just over. And Danny Lankhorst. Danny Lancor is really not that big of a power hitter usually, but maybe he remembered something he saw from Nick Michelli. That was a first pitch fastball that was pretty center cut. And he took a mighty hack at that.
He felt inspired on that one for sure. Makes it 3-0. If you want to know how we got here in the first inning, wait for this pitch to come in.
That one's called ball number 2.
Terrell Joyce in the first. He was safe at first on air by shortstop Callum Murphy. Eric Brank then scored. Wilson Lee went to third. Daniel M. Hunt went to second on that. And then also in the first, Felder Llewellyn singled on a full count. Wilson Lee scored. Daniel M. Hunt went to third. Terrell Joyce to second. And then we just saw Danny Lankhorst smoke one over the left field fence.
So, Bonn offense looking pretty good so far today. High energy levels, good swings, good patient at bats, and it's resulted in a 3-run lead here. And as we're just in the bottom of the second.
That's right. It was one of the keys of the game. Deeply researched by yours truly was this idea of passion and not to let things go.
was, and they're keeping it going. Eric Brink reaching base for the second time tonight already. This time via the base on balls. As we just saw Nick Michelli do something he sometimes does, and we've seen it the other way around by Yanni Orfanidis. Nick Michelli on that pitch dropped down to a lower arm slot, almost throwing that sidearm. But missed a bit too low for ball number 4. We've definitely seen the strike zone looking pretty high so far. A couple of high pitches getting called for strikes, whereas
It's
pitches.
flexible. It's flexible.
It is. So a runner on first. Nobody out for first baseman Wilson Lee, who watches that fastball.
Yeah.
That was no doubt a strike.
Yeah, and I see Brank's getting a pretty healthy lead out there. Of course, rather tall guy, but one
Mitchell.
wonders.
Not the quickest move towards the plate, so you could think about stealing. And Michelli thought the same thing, probably. Throwing it back. Eric Brink safe. And dirty now.
I guess my philosophy on this would be do whatever you can to run that score up as high as you can to demoralize and defeat the team as quickly as possible and get out of this round as soon as possible.
Exactly, in that one. Inside, ball number 1.
So no let up is my philosophy.
Sure is. And I mean, you can take that energy of a high demoralizing win into games 2, 3, and potentially 4 and 5. That's for sure.
Oh, it's a heck of a philosophy. It's just great.
But it's been what they've been struggling with quite a lot throughout the season. They
Yes.
scored some runs early and then let up. Biggest example of that for me is still the European Champions Cup, where they did that a couple of times and then scored 3 runs in the first 2 innings and then just stopped hitting whatsoever.
Yeah.
So trying not to do that here today. Derek Brink, as dirty as he's going to be, I don't think I've ever seen him finish a game with his jersey intact and clean.
Love it. To me, that's the sign of a great player, a player that hustles, and it shows in the stats. And we had this discussion a few weeks ago. We talked about really who the MVP of the league is, and Eric Brink has to be up there, if not at the top.
1-1 pitch to Wilson Lee, and that one's called at the bottom of the zone for strike number 2. So Wilson Lee behind here in the count.
He's over. He hasn't been on base yet, or he's over.
No
He's
at bat
over.
for him yet.
Yes,
exactly. As he
exactly.
swings and grounds one to third, throw to second for the force out.
Did he
But-
land back on that bag?
Feel like
The
the
umpire
call.
says so.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, I think we saw the same thing. Second baseman of the Haar disciples, that's Simon Lechner, leaping up pretty early when receiving that throw, but Andreas Danielczyk, just a couple meters away, thought his foot was still on the bag long enough.
All right.
So Eric Brink out at second on the fielder's choice. Wilson Lee reaches first as there was no shot to turn that, and it was just not hit hard enough to the third baseman. So now Wilson Lee on first, and he's not that quick of a runner as Eric Brink is. He
Yep.
will try to steal some bases every once in a while.
So, I want to mention that Michelli's at 47 pitches. I think on that one it was number 47. So this is only the bottom of the second inning. They're really he's stacking them up, so to
Yeah,
speak.
you'll have to
and
think. All right, coaching staff is already thinking about a game plan, what they're going to do, how they're going to fill these upcoming innings. Of course, it's going to depend a lot on how close this game is going to be in a couple of innings, as that's lined into left center field, and that's going to find some grass out there. Wilson Lee rounding second towards third. Daniel Lampant on his way to second base, in there with a slide. 1 out double for the Bonn second baseman, who really got a nice piece of that one. Hit a line drive
hey,
to left center field.
and looking at that passion out there by Lam Hunt on second base, you can see he's into the game. The fans, you can hear them, they're into the game as well. That's what I like to see, this passion coming back to the Capitals just when they need it.
And with the runners in scoring position, the Haar disciples decide to intentionally walk Terrell Joyce. Who
Not-
can blame him?
Who can blame them, Tom? That is not a bad idea, but it doesn't get any easier.
Their bases are loaded once again, as we've seen it in the first inning. But now, not only the opportunity for a forced play at home, but also to turn a double play, and that's what the Haar Disciple defense will look to do. Once again shifting, the shortstop playing on the right side of second base.
That's right. They don't play by the major league rules.
Exactly. They're still allowed to do that. We'll
Yeah.
see for how long. As Vinjarens steps in with the bases loaded. 1 out. And a long pause by Nick Michelli. So
Vinny
time
Aaron's
called.
286 on the season is his average. And let's take a look at the home runs. He's got 3 of them, 18 RBIs. Hey, this guy can hit. He's a veteran of the Capitals. You walk Joyce to get to this guy doesn't make it a lot easier.
As that one stays outside. Ball number 1.
Especially in the playoffs, you want guys like Aarons who have been there before, who've done that before, have been on a championship team before, and are going to be patient at the plate. Are not going to let the pressure get to them.
As we were just talking about it, Chase is one that bounced a good couple of inches in front of home plate for strike number 1.
I've got an uncanny ability to jinx players, if you're wondering. I'm available for hire. You have a team you want to lose, or a batter you want to swing wildly.
So 1-1 the count for Arends. As that one looked like the changeup. It didn't bite this time. Up in the count.
But it could have moved by Michelli. Throw that again. See? Well, you bit once. Let's see if it happens again, but no.
Why not? That's a great approach. And I mean, Vinny Arends had to actively hold back his swing. He was tempted to go after that. 2-1 the count. As he swings wildly again at some more off speed. If I were Nick Michelli or William Thorpe behind the plate, I wouldn't throw anything hard towards Vinny Arends, because he's definitely waiting for a fastball that he can drive somewhere.
It's true. He can taste it. It would be a big mistake to throw it now.
At 2-2. I can't imagine. And the pitch.
He threw it, though.
He did. And you can see how much Vinny Arends was waiting for a fastball, because he was so early on that fastball, he fouled it off way to the right.
Yeah, he was on that one. But looked like a tasty meatball. Couldn't get the fork on it.
So we're going to see it again at 2-2.
Big moment in the game.
Sure is. It could really get out of reach here quickly, as that changeup falls in. Called strike 3. So Vinny Arends is retired for the second time tonight, as he can't get the bat off his shoulders on that one. And that looked pretty.
That one looked down pretty good.
Pretty good. That fell right in, but he couldn't see it early enough.
That'll bring up Phildrick Llewellyn.
Michelli already ready to pitch.
Oh, yeah.
Way before Phildrick Llewellyn steps into the box. He's determined to get out of this inning now.
I really like watching Michelli on the mound.
Oh, it's a blast.
It's a story in itself.
And he brings the type
like that for about a minute now.
And Phildrick Llewellyn steps out once again. A bit frightened, maybe. But I feel like that's exactly the type of energy you need in the playoffs to be successful.
It's a mental exercise.
Yes, and even after that long a break, still finds the zone, gets ahead in the count 0-1.
He is focused in the mound right now. I'll give him that.
He's looked better now than he has in the first.
Yeah.
Throwing way more strikes, and that changeup a good one. Phildrick Llewellyn.
You didn't go straight back like that. You know they're on it, and Llewellyn also wanted that. He's marching back into the plate, gives his bat a kiss. He's ready.
He feels like he missed a great opportunity to make this a 7-run ball game there.
Some good baseball vibes today.
Definitely the type of passion you want in the playoffs. A whole different vibe from what we've got the past couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Ballpark's more crowded than it has been probably all season long.
Yeah, and don't forget, everybody, there's another game tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Make sure you get out here. It's really a lot of fun.
As he drives that one into right center field, but Rosenthal is going to get there and make the catch. That's out number 3, so no more runs after the Danny Lancor's leadoff home run. But the Bonn Capitals extend their lead now up by 3 after 2 plate innings here on Caps TV.
aussieht, kann kein Vorbild sein? Wer solche Nägel trägt, ist fake? Frauen verstehen nichts vom Game? Are you mad, Mann? Ich bitte dich. Und Rap ist nur für Männer? Check das lieber nochmal. Und Typen wollen mir irgendwas erzählen. So und so hat deine Frau sich zu benehmen. Wenn du das so gut könntest, dann brauch ich es nicht, okay? Dann sei du doch diese Frau, hast du mit mir ein Problem. Und wenn du denkst, die Telekom ist teuer? Check mal das hier.
Starting the top of the third inning for the Haar Disciples, 9, 1, and 2 in their batting order. Nils Schmidt, the left fielder, wearing number 11, starting them off, trying to claw back from a 3-run deficit as that curveball stays high. Buckles him a bit, but the pitch stayed high for ball number 1. And he swings at that one, fouls it off to the right. 1 ball, 1 strike. As we're now slowly but surely getting into the middle part of this game, how about we look at some players who really stand out on these teams, who really carry these teams into the positions they are in today?
I'd love to, Tom. Look, let's start with Bonn. And to me, number 1 on that list has to be Eric Brank. He finished the season with a 407 average, 14 doubles, 37 runs scored, 18 RBIs as that comes in. That's a ball. 19 stolen bases as well. Only 1 caught stealing and an on-base percentage of 1.031. But
as that's a drive into left center field, that's going to stay up for Phil-Drake Llewellyn. So loud out number 1 as Neil Schmidt is retired.
I was talking about Brank and we were talking about batting, and I was going to say, but that's not all, folks, because he's also being featured on the mound, and quite prominently as well. He's got a 2.65 ERA on the mound, 2-0 record. That's with 2 saves and 12 strikeouts and 17 innings pitched. So that's Brank. He's got to be number 1 on that list.
And you know he's my favorite player to watch so far this season on the Capitals.
I'm with you there, Tom. Terrell Joyce would be number 2 on my list. Rejoined the team a couple of weeks into the season. Average of 377. Those are numbers I could only dream of. 8 home runs, that's about 8 more than I would hit. 29 RBI, wow, what a coincidence, same there. On-base percentage of 1.242.
That one sounded like a broken bat, fouled off to the right side. That's going to get over there towards the batting cage. Patrick Music behind the count, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
All right, so number 3, Toru Murata, another guy who joined the team a little bit later on into the season. He's had 5 starts. Now, this guy's been to the show, by the way. What was the team? He was with Cleveland. He was up
Cleveland,
for an inning or
back
so.
when they were at the Indians, as that's a hard hit, base hit into left field. Nice swing by Patrick Music, and that's the second hit of the day for the Haar Disciples, and they got a 1-out base runner.
Yeah, the Music man is on. So Muratu, 5 starts, 5-0 record, ERA of, I love this one, .82, 3 earned runs and 33 innings pitched with 25 strikeouts. That's not so bad.
That's all right for a mid-season replacement for your starter who gets injured watering the field when Zach Dotson broke his foot. That's a nice replacement.
All right, well then let's look at Haar. Who do we got in with Haar? I would say, after some real crack research, Nate Thomas is probably the one at the top of this list. By the way, folks, most of this research was done by Tom. He knows his numbers inside and out, but I concur. He's back safe. So Nate Thomas, best offensive production. I like how that's in quotations on my sheet here. On the Disciples with his mighty .255 average, 1 home run.
As that one's chopped over the head of the leaping first baseman Wilson Lee. That's going to get into right field, and that's going to allow Patrick Music to advance to third base. So hit to the right spot. High chopper, and Wilson Lee couldn't get a glove on it and went out into right field. So back-to-back singles for the Disciples. That was Simon Lechner, who's now on first base, and they got runners on the corners. Great scoring opportunity, still only one out.
Yeah, and I saw the third base coach. I thought he was waving him home, and I thought they'd be crazy, but no, they threw up the stop sign at the last minute.
There's Nate Thomas. You just talked about him.
There
He's
you
batting
go.
in the 3 spot.
I like to time these well. Now, second on my list for best players of Haar, Nick Michelli. We've talked a lot about him today. Stats-wise, best starting pitcher, who has also played first base, third base, and the outfield with elite defense and some offensive production. His average, not quite as remarkable. It's 189 on the season, but again, they're looking at his pitching. We've got one more guy to go. Let's wait for this pitch.
That one's right in there.
All
For
right.
strike number 1, evens the count at 1 ball, 1 strike.
Now, the third player on the list, best players for Haar, would be, in our opinion, Stephen Noro. He's an American starting pitcher. Usually starts second games series. Taking the biggest workload on the mound, averages 6.2 innings.
As that's a broken bat, fly ball into left field, and that's a foul ball.
Yeah, just foul.
That was very close, and the bat almost took out the pitcher. Titus van Cup, the bat's still out there next to the mound.
Yeah, it looks like a javelin out there. A good attempt, by the way, by Phil Brickley-Wellen out in left as well to try and get to that, but yeah, it's impossible. So let's finish that off. So we were talking about Norell, averages 6.2 innings per start, 7.2 ERA and 66.
2.7.
2.7.
That's a bit better than 7.2 ERA.
Oh, did I? Thanks for that catch, Tom. Yes. Yes, that I was thinking of my ERA when I pitched. So he's been the table setter for Game 2 victories. And that rounds out your list of the top 3 players, in our opinion, for both teams. So it'd be interesting. Maybe throw your suggestions up on chat if you're watching online as well.
So Nate Thomas got some new lumber in his hands. Down the count, 1 ball, 2 strikes. As that off-speed pitch stays low. Good take there. Pretty close pitch. Definitely a ball. Still, Disciples in a really good scoring opportunity. All of a sudden, the tying run's back at the plate. So this game is definitely way within reach and throw back to first.
Yeah, and you know, if you're Bonn and you leave 6 runners on base in the last 2 innings, you're really throwing away opportunities that we wouldn't be talking about the tying run being at the plate right now in the 3rd inning. It seems like it's a Bonn. Bonn's got this easily in hand, but you look at the score and the numbers don't reflect that necessarily.
The upcoming innings are going to be interesting because we mentioned it a couple of times. There's not too much coming in the Bonn pitching staff. There's not a lot of depth in that pitching staff this year.
Which reminds me to take a look at the pitch count. It's at 51 right now for Van Kapp.
So they can't be cruising yet. They need to score a lot more runs on offense, in my opinion. And Titus van Cup needs to find a way at keeping the lead right where it is and getting out of the inning with the pitch count as low as possible. As that one called ball number 3.
Yeah, they've been watching a few more pitchers.
They are. They've been putting together some really productive at-bats. Weren't rewarded with any runs so far, but that could change pretty quickly. And 3-2 pitch misses high. And that's going to load the bases as Nate Thomas walks for the 2nd time tonight. The bases are loaded. That's the 3rd time we've seen that, and we're only in the 3rd inning.
That's right. Let's see. Bonn better hope for the same result in some ways as when they had the bases loaded, in which they weren't able to capitalize.
And Callum Murphy back in his first at-bat. He hit a ball hard to left field and got a first single of the game. And he was right on Van Kup's fastball, so we'll see if he can replicate that this at-bat. You have to imagine a single would get 2 runners home.
Big hitter into left field. When he does hit, 38% of his hits are into the left field area. So,
and he does have a home run on the season. He does have the power to drive one over the wall.
Indeed he does.
And that would actually give the Disciples the lead here. So, pretty big spot actually.
That's right. So if you've got 4 home runs on the year, and I'm talking about, Haar as a team, not just Murphy, and he's got 1 of them, you better be careful.
As that breaking ball falls in, but
That was a good-looking breaking ball, Tom.
That's exactly what I thought. But it's called ball number 2. I mean, we've seen some complaints about the strike zone from both sides today, so it's definitely, I think, going to even out over the course of the game, especially when the bases are loaded.
That was a nice pitch.
It was. He got the fastball by him. This time, he didn't look ready for the fastball.
No, Murphy's head was on a bit of a pivot, yeah.
I think he was looking for you out here,
He
talking
was.
shit about him.
Well,
Turned his head out towards us.
It's not a bad average. Come on.
As that one outside and back pick towards second base. You don't see that every day.
I know. I sound like the grumpy old man up here, but those throws back to second when the bases are loaded.
That's sketchy.
Careful.
It is sketchy, and that one just bounced in, and Daniel Lampund had to make his best catcher impression to keep that in front of him.
Yeah.
Full count. As that pitch breaking ball below the zone. So RBI walk for Callum Murphy. And the Disciples are right back in this one.
Might be a good time for the coach to come out.
And there he comes.
Oh, well, there we go. No, it's
no big deal for you to exactly.
Oh, yes. Yes.
That's just what you do, right?
I may have peeked. So let's take a look at the scores in some other games today while we've got this bit of a break. Hamburg has beaten Regensburg in the bottom of the 9th, and I believe that was because of a wild pitch. So they won that game. Bit of a surprise there. There's a game going on right now between Berlin and Dortmund. On the top of the 7th, the Wild Farmers are wild farmering it up by a score of 2-0. And here, of course, the score is 3-1. A very precarious lead, it seems, all of a sudden, Tom. Right
Sure
here in
is.
Bonn.
And just to add that information, Dortmund Wild Farmers and Berlin Flamingos are finishing up their final 2 games of the regular season. They had to play 2 makeup games, so that's what they're doing tonight before the Dortmund Wild Farmers will start into the playoffs. Next week they will face the very strong Heidenheim Heideköpfe. But back to this game, the bases remain loaded. Still only 1 out for Josef Rosenthal, the center fielder. And he watches that one come in for strike number 1. Count is even.
Now, the one thing about Rosenthal, of course, he has a 225 average. If he gets on base, he's a bit of a threat. He's got 12 stolen bases. So, yeah, deal with the moment at hand, but just he does represent a bit of a threat if he does get on base.
As that one, strike number 2, at the top of the zone. We can see in this game, I think it sums up pretty well. Their averages might not be the highest, but they put together smart and good at bats, and they find their ways to get on base. And
agreed.
They're only at 3 hits so far, the Disciples that is, but they've had 6 base runners already, as that's a high drive into deep right center field. Lancor's turning, looking, and that's off the wall, and you can make the catch. 1 run scores. Here comes the second runner, and the third runner is stopped at third base. But that's a game-tying 2-run double by Josef Rosenthal, who missed a go-ahead grand slam by maybe 2 feet.
Maybe 2 feet. I saw that just hit off. Oh, boy, it just missed. So Bonn got lucky there. The runner on third base was also held. I think ultimately a smart decision. But Bonn, it could have been worse for Bonn.
It could have been, and it wasn't really sure if that ball was maybe even going to be caught, so the runners had to hold up, and that's why base runner Callum Murphy couldn't score from first base. He's now on third. Josef Rosenthal is at second base, and the game is tied all of a sudden in the top of the 3rd inning.
That's right, and let's not forget what we said about Rosenthal. He's fast on the bases at second base, so
single could give the Disciples a 2-run lead for sure, and it's going to be Lukas Bicke, the DH. Struck out his first time around.
Yeah.
And definitely not what you wanted to see out of the Bonn Capitals pitching staff, as that one's foul tipped at home plate for strike number 1.
Now, we have seen Van Kaap throw a lot this year, and I see some action now in the bullpen. Would you chalk some of this up to fatigue overall in the season, Tom, or what's your thoughts
he's
on that?
definitely has been used, I think, a lot more than what they expected out of him, and maybe with what he planned for. But he's a young guy. I feel like he shouldn't be. It's a long season, of course, as that one's hit to the shortstop, Eric Brank, who goes to third, and the tag is applied. Good heads-up play by Eric Brank. But the runner from third, Callum Murphy, scores the go-ahead run. And on the fielder's choice by Lucas Bicker, the Disciples take their first lead of the game and of this playoff series. They are now ahead by a score of 4-3 here in the top of the third inning.
Yeah, it was a smart call by Brank to go to third. Not necessarily the guaranteed play, of course, because of the speed by Rosenthal on second. But I think it was the right way to go.
And I think the only shot at making an out, as he was deep in the hole on his backhand side, and maybe it would have been a long throw to first. He might have made it, gotten an out, but that was a really good play to get the second out.
Nice tag by Sanchez as well.
So now Lucas Bicker is at first base. 2 are down. And that curveball drops in as strike number 2 to William Thorpe, who's quickly down 0-2. Yeah, so that is Yanni Orfanides already up and throwing in the Bonn bullpen.
It's easy to tell out there in the bullpen. He's coming down with that sidearm delivery out there.
It is, but you mentioned the point about it. He's a side armor. If they have to bring him in the 4th or 5th inning, they will have to use Eric Brank for several innings today, in my opinion, and that's just going to leave to Murata for tomorrow. As that one's off the glove of Titus van Kapp. Danny Sanchez makes the throw, and safe is the call. So the chopper right back to the mound, but Titus van Kapp could just get his glove on it and not get the ball in the glove. It kind of bounced weirdly to the left side, and Danny Sanchez, with a good heads-up play, backed that up, tried to make a throw. It was a bang-bang play, very close at first base.
Yeah.
But called safe by Kevin Muzic.
It was a tight call at first base for sure. I mean, from my eye, he looked trying to see whether we see a bit of a replay here. We'll see if we can bring that up, but it was close.
The Har Disciples have hit around this inning. It's Miguel Pinheiro up to bat, and he's the 9th guy to hit here in the top of the 3rd inning. And that curveball drops in for strike number 2. But we can see out there in the bullpen, they're getting a bit hasty with Yanni Orfanides. Trying to get him up and ready pretty quickly.
Yeah, we remember a couple weeks ago he had that a bit of an injury out on the mound. He had to be taken out. So we talked to him a few nights ago, and he said everything was fine. Hopefully that is still the case. But I believe it was his, not the calf, but the...
No, I think it was his calf. That was just cramping up and not feeling great. As that one's popped foul. Count remains 1 ball, 2 strikes.
But this is right. This is where Bonn does get into trouble now because of this pitching situation that we've been talking about since the beginning of the game. We do not have much of there's not much depth there. Let's put it that way.
It is definitely 4 pitchers for 2 games. As that gets past catcher Vinarens, and both runners will advance into scoring position. That is Lucas Bicker moving up to 3rd and William Thorpe, the catcher, up to 2nd base. So
yeah, Van Kapp is starting to show a bit of fatigue out there on the mound. We're at 75 pitches now, and we're only in the 3rd inning. They've batted around this inning, so in some ways he's got to slow things down a little bit, catch his breath, focus on getting this last out of the inning. They got to get out of this.
And if you look towards the Bonn bullpen, the Bonn coaching staff, as that one misses high for ball number 3, they're looking a bit helpless, kind of actually over there. Really not what they had planned for, and they're going to have to go to Orfanides pretty quickly. And that's going to mean a couple of innings for him, and then probably a couple of innings for Eric Brank as well. So they will most likely need a complete game out of Toru Murata. Or, as that one's a high chopper to 3rd baseman Danny Sanchez. Good play by him, but the throw is low and gets by first baseman Wilson Lee. That's going to allow 2 more runs to score. So now some sloppy defense coming in by the Bonn Capitals here on the last 2 plays. allowing 2 more runs to score on a play that should have definitely ended the inning. The game as important as this one.
Yeah, I understand. I agree. In Sanchez's defense, he's making that play on the run. Still is somewhat of a routine, and I think now we're going to get this
That's going to be
change.
all for Tito Svenkamp, who leaves allowing 4 earned runs in just 2.2 innings of work. And as mentioned, we're going to see Yanni Orfanides. We're going to be back once he finishes his warm-up pitches. Back in the top of the 3rd inning with Yanni Orfanides now on the mound for the Bonn Capitals. And Neil Schmidt, who started off this inning by flying out to left field, is back up to hit for the 2nd time. And he watches the submarine sinker by Yanni Orfanides miss just low for ball number 1.
So, Orfanides, sinker, slider, changeup mix. As you're mentioning, he's got that submarine delivery. He's got a 4-2 record, ERA at 7.24. He's been hurt by walks, though. 22 walks in 27 innings pitched, and he's also hit 8 batters.
Yeah, control's been the issue for him. The batting average against him is not too high, actually. It's just mostly been lack of control on his part. We've seen him be really good in the game we unfortunately couldn't broadcast, where he threw 5 no-hit innings against the Doven Wild Farmers.
I think he felt bad about that, and I do too, because
he's still mad at us to this day. He told us it was like the one time I have a really good game, we don't have any cameras, but maybe he can replicate something like that today. As that one is ball number 3, close pitch.
Good. It was a close pitch, and it looked good. So yeah, Haar 6 runs on 5 hits.
As that one fouled off to the right side, and we'll do it again at 3-2.
Both teams have an error. Bonn 3 runs on 4 hits.
But the Bonn error has definitely been way more costly.
Yeah.
And the play that should have gotten him out of the inning. The throw was kind of a longer hop, as that one misses up high to a walk. Is going to put Miguel Pinheiro into scoring position to second base, and Neil Schmidt is going to reach. He's on first.
Bring up the music man.
Exactly. You has the same last name as the first base umpire, but I don't think they are related. But I'm not too sure.
I'm not sure I've ever run in any one place 2 guys with the last name Music.
And they're both pronounced music, from what I know. So, like the Eastern European way of pronouncing it. Orfanitas staring into his catcher, Vinyarens, before the upcoming pitch, and that's a breaking ball. Quite a bit outside. Ball 1. That's been the case when he's been struggling. He hasn't had his control on his changeup or sliders on his secondary pitches. We'll see if he finds that, as that one is fouled back. Good pitch there, and Orfanitas had in the count. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Trying to find, so Pinheiro, need to find if he's stolen any bases this year. Let me take a quick look here.
For the 1-2 pitch by Orfanitas. That one is ball number 2.
Because my thought was, and Pinheiro at second base has no stolen bases on the season because they're not paying much attention to him, rightfully so. They want to get this last out. Thought was maybe he might try to liven things up even further by keeping them off balance.
As that one's fouled to the right side. But if you're Haar, you're having a really good inning. You don't want to end it on the bases by getting caught stealing to third base.
No.
2 outs. That's not what you want to do.
No, not at all.
So you'd rather take the chances that Patrick Music is going to get another hit and get another run home. Up by 3. As that one's tapped back to Orfanitas, who takes it almost all the way and
he
shovels
ran all the way there.
to Wilson Lee. And finally, if you're a Bonn Capital supporter, puts an end to the top half of the 3rd inning, but not before the Haar Disciples score 6 runs and take the lead up 6-3.
Das ist Mia. Mia hat zu Hause einen richtig schönen Designboden, der aber auch leider oberflächige Schäden und tiefe Kratzer aufweist. Dr. Schutz hat dafür die Lösung mit Produkten für die Reinigung und Pflege, wie das Designboden-Pflegeset und um tiefe Kratzer zu beseitigen, das Scratch Fix Repair Set. Und damit Mia genau weiß, wie man ihre Böden zu Hause perfekt pflegt und schützt, gibt es unsere Tutorials auf dem Dr. Schutz YouTube-Channel. Für Mia und euch alle. Damit muss sich Mia nicht mehr um ihre Böden sorgen, sondern kann ganz beruhigt unsere Caps anfeuern. Go Caps!
Check this out.
It hasn't been such a long time since people first started shopping online, and it was easy to keep up with the clicks. Little by little by little by more, the clicks added up to be more than the stores, and e-tailers worked harder than ever before, because they had to keep up with the clicks. All of a sudden, there are so many must-dos if you want to keep selling, like delivery there, no there, or there.
And make it tomorrow. First thing.
No time for borders. Gotta stay in control to stay in the flow and continue to grow. But we'll help you. Keep up with the clicks.
Die Aufholjagd startet im 3. Inning unten mit der Nummer 1, Toni Klinzing, unser Right Fielder.
Anthony Klinzing starting it off for the Bonn Capitals in the bottom of the 3rd inning.
Tom, I just woke up. What happened? I missed an inning. What happened?
Oh, nothing pretty much. Just 6 runs on 4 hits and a costly error.
Oh my God! That was a tough inning.
And really, not what you would have expected after the Cavs were up 2 runs before Nick Michelli and the Haar Disciples could even record a single out. They were up pretty early, and you would thought, oh, this might be a pretty quick, pretty low-intensity game, and all of a sudden, they're down 3 runs.
Yeah, you look at this lineup for Haar today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different guys have 1 hit. So it's not one person doing the work. It's spread out, and it's throughout the lineup.
Sure is, and it's the result of really good at-bats, driving up the pitch count and punishing Titus von Kapp when he made some bad pitches. They've been effective, scored 6 runs in that inning, and that's going to give him a pretty good lead to work with. I mean, Nick Michelli will be able to throw from an entirely different perspective now, right?
He's taking them out for dinner tonight if this lead keeps up. Thanks, guys, for that 6-run slot you put up.
I mean, he's not really used to getting that kind of run support.
That's an
You just have
understatement,
to
Tom.
say
That's right.
how it is.
Yeah, we were all the time we spent at the beginning of the game. We're above the Haar dugout. They must have heard us slagging this mid 200 average that they have, which just shows again that playoffs, whole new ball game. And you start from 0.
And a big part of winning is which team wants to win more. That's a big part of baseball, and even more so in the playoffs.
Now, we did see some good passion from Bonn at the beginning of the game. Let's see if they can maintain it, even though they're now down by...
Yeah, the passion was there when they hit well and when they were up. And then you saw a couple of plays in a row not being made as Anthony Klinsing grounds that to third. Throw is offline. And no tag, and we hope he didn't injure himself on that one. As the throw by third baseman Patrick Music took first baseman Miguel Pinheiro off the back. He had to make a jumping catch and then tried to apply the tag to Anthony Klinsing, but he kind of avoided it to the inside of the bag, then stepped on the bag and kind of tumbled over it. But he seems to be all right.
The thing is with Music down there at third, he had so much time because I looked over. He was well positioned, perfectly positioned, got the ball, just a crow hop to first, but threw offline. Again, some sloppy play on both sides now.
And maybe exactly what the Bonn offense needs to get going again. As they have a leadoff runner on first base now, Danny Sanchez popped out to second base to end the first inning. And sees that breaking ball for strike number 1.
Yeah, 261 on the season. He's only struck out 4 times, which I find not too shabby.
Very impressive. He's always been a really good contact hitter. Not the biggest power in his bat, but he's been a line drive hitter with a good average all his career. And he flies that one to shallow right field. Who's going to get there? Nate Thomas is. He makes the catch, calls up the second baseman.
Yeah, hung up just a bit too long.
And Danny Sanchez struggling a bit to start this game. 2 weak fly balls to shallow right field. He's retired for the second time. And there is one down. Runner remains at first base. And now it's going to be Danny Lancor, who had that big home run in the bottom of the second. And that's been the last piece of offense for the Bonn Capitals. And we talked about it. They left 6 runners on base in the first 2 innings. And you said as we started the third inning, if that doesn't come back to haunt them later on, and it did.
Yeah.
It didn't take long.
No, you get away with it once, twice, not often. And you have to cash these runners in, especially in the playoffs, especially when your pitching depth is so thin.
So now Danny Lancor trying to repeat what he did last time as he chases that one and fouls it off to the right. Back-to-back breaking balls, and he's down 0-2 quickly.
Michelli's really settled in, though.
He has, sure has. He's struggled quite a bit in the first inning, was complaining a lot to the umpire as he didn't get a lot of close calls. But after he got his final warning by the home plate umpire who told him no more, he was really settled in, focused more on himself, and Danny Lancor just got the slightest piece of that one to stay alive.
Yeah, he's lucky he did, too, with that white hair flowing out of the helmet.
I don't know how I feel about it just yet. I'll need a couple more innings, a couple more at-bats, figure out my opinion. The count's still 0-2. As a weak swing, he was really late on that. Didn't expect a fastball after seeing 3 straight slurves out of Nick Michelli.
No, but that was a little bit close at first base. It would have been such a nice hit, too, on that line.
I mean, that was more of a check swing, really. It was so late. Just to try to stay alive. Almost got a fair ball down the line out of that. The first base umpire just 2 steps away from the bag. The perfect view of that and called it foul. So the count remains 0-2.
I like Michelli's reaction on the mound when he does it, when the catcher calls for something. He gives that, I don't think so.
They don't have pitch-com yet here in Germany, so it's still the classic where a pitcher can call his own game but has to rely on the signs his catcher gives him.
It's really helpful as a broadcaster to be able to see such body language. It really helps you understand and what is happening and what he's feeling.
I mean, it's special about him because he used to be a catcher, so he knows his way about calling a game, and that changeup is a thing of beauty.
He
gets the swing and miss out of Daniel Lancor. That was a really good pitch, really good changeup. Daniel Lancor's not patient enough, chases that one, goes down swinging for out number 2.
Looked like Bo Bichette last night. I saw him chase one down in the zone like that, and it makes you look bad, but it's very deceptive if you're at the plate.
I seem to have forgot. How did that Blue Jays game end
I
last
don't remember.
night?
I went to bed.
We'll have to look that up again. Sure looked like a fun game.
Yeah, enjoy Ohtani while you've got him.
He's got to stay. Angels are just winning everything.
You think so?
They're just winning everything until the trade deadline as to not trade him because they're still contenders then, right? And then they're just going to lose 30 out of the next 40 and just
they're winning
give
everything.
away another season of Trout and Ohtani.
That's some California math. Winning everything 4 games.
Eric Brink, as we're getting back to this game, down 0-2. He reached his first 2 times up to the plate on a line drive single and a base on ball. Scored 1 run. Now behind in the count, 0-2.
Yeah, Wilson Lee's behind him and Daniel Lamb Hunt. So if you can, I know there's 2 out, but look, there's 2 strong guys behind you.
No swing.
That was a bit of a delay down there, but yeah, that's the right call.
How's that? It's ball 1.
Can I have one more point on the Ohtani thing, please?
Yeah.
He looks great in blue. I'm just saying.
I don't think he would. The Blue Jays, come on.
We know.
They don't have the money.
Don't have. Okay.
All right.
We better get back to this game before I start revealing how much money they have.
You're paying off Ohtani. I want to see that. All right. Eric Brink's still down in the count. 1 ball, 2 strikes. As Anthony Klinsing on his way to second base, but it doesn't matter as Eric Brink goes down swinging back-to-back strikeouts and to the 3rd inning for Nick Michelli, who's really settled in out there. Nice inning of work, no more runs for the Bonn Capitals, and protects the Haar lead, still up 6-3.
Und die Firma Bongas. Herzlichen Dank für die Unterstützung von Baseballsport in Bonn und der Bonn Capitals. Hierbei geht weiter ins Viertel oben gleich. Seit Verstärkungen hier an unserem Catering-Stand. Es könnte ein langer Spätnachmittag, Frühabend, Abend werden. Schauen wir mal. geht los mit der Nummer 72, Second Baseman Simon Lechner.
Top of the fourth inning, Yanni Orfanina is back on the mound. He just faced one batter as he finished the top of the third. Now he faces 2, 3, and 4 in the Haar batting order. And that's Simon Lechner leading off the second baseman. The count is 1 ball, 1 strike.
Hey, I did some research on Haar.
Did.
I did. I put in some long hours last night.
As that's a high fly ball to shallow center field. Danny Lankhorst had quite some time before making that catch, but he did. That's out number 1.
Yeah, it's trickier than it looks because the sun's right in his eyes, and et cetera, et cetera. But Haar, this is for all you people that are listening and really need to know some facts about Haar. It's a municipality in the district of Munich in Bavaria, Germany. Thank you very much. It is 12 kilometers east of Munich. As of 2017, it had a population of more than 20,000. In other words, it's a suburb. What's it known for? Okay. Well, it's home to the Haar Disciples. That's one of the things they're known for.
That's awesome. It's not often you get baseball as an attraction in Germany.
No, but let me tell you what the other thing is that they're known for, because it's super exciting. On October 2017.
There's a high drive, but pulled it just a bit too much.
On 2017, Tom, the boards of appeal of the European Patent Office were relocated to Haar. This is exciting. Now, it's one of these things that it's not even the actual decision-making body. It's the appeals body.
That's what they're famous for. I mean, better have something than nothing, right?
Yeah. So anyway, Haar is a suburb. It's not a very exciting one at that, but it's got some business, and it's got the Disciples. So let's give them some credit.
Ooh. Yanni Orfanides went overhead for that pitch on 2-2, which he sometimes does to confuse hitters, and especially these hard hitters who are facing him for the first time. He didn't get the call. So it's a full count, but that sinker finds the inside corner.
Yeah.
Nate Thomas didn't like that, but it looked like a pretty good pitch.
But
Strikeout looking for Yanni Orfanides.
But you know who did like it was Yanni Orfanides. He gave a fist pump as he came off the mound, and
he's always so full of energy and almost looks like anger out there on the mound. I'm always a bit scared to talk to him on game days where he's going to pitch.
That's good. It's like Verlander or Scherzer, sorry.
Scherzer, yeah. He's such a nice guy. Of course, I'm joking, but like when he's out there on the mound, I'm like,
You got to show the intensity. Got on him.
I don't want to face him right now. Rocking the long hair.
We'll tell him we compared him to Scherzer. He'll like that.
As that one finds the low and inside corner.
It is a delayed call, though, isn't it?
It sure is. And with these headsets on, you don't always hear the straight call.
So
did on that. That's strike number 2.
That was a tasty-looking one. That was his 19th pitch, and he's had 1 strikeout and 1 walk so far, Yanni has.
I mean, he can get up there in the pitch count as long as he stays. As that one's driven into right center field and gonna get down in front of Anthony Klinsing. Kind of stopped charging that. Couple steps.
Yeah,
before.
I also feel the same way. He might have put a little more hustle into that one, but his perspective's a little closer than ours.
So 2-out single for Callum Murphy, who's been on base 3 times.
And pretty key to things, actually.
Oh, definitely.
Scored
a run.
Yeah, he singled his last time up. It was a 2-2 count on that pitch that he singled and drove in a few runs.
So to finish the point about Orfanides, he's a submariner, but he can get up there in the pitch count. That's not the problem for him usually. It's sometimes, at some point, he usually tends to lose control. He didn't in a couple of starts he had, both in the Champions Cup where he went 4 really good innings, and then he threw those 5 no-hit innings against Doran.
I'll take one of those.
To finish that point, he's looked good for more innings than one several times since joining the Capitals, but sometimes tends to struggle with location, with finding the zone, with getting pitches in the strike zone. But so far today, he's looked pretty solid. We'll see what the upcoming innings bring. They're going to use him for quite some time, I would imagine.
He's going to have to eat up some, yes.
As that one's a weak liner into right field. That's going to get down into the corner, and Anthony Klinsing was making the play and keeping the batter to a single, but back-to-back two-out singles, and the Disciples have runners in scoring position with 2 outs. Runners on the corners after that base hit by Josef Rosenthal. And with 2 outs, that's going to bring up DH Lukas Bicke. And great chance for the Disciples to extend their lead even further from the 3 runs it's currently at.
That was a pool cue shot that it looked like it came off his bat. So that one comes in for a strike.
And as we talked about it with Michelli, now very important for the Bonn pitching, the Bonn defense to get out of this and to, honestly, to stay in reach in the 4th inning. They don't want to fall behind by 5-6 runs.
Interesting, Tom, that we were talking about the game getting out of hand for the Disciples early on in the game. Spoke too soon, obviously, and now we're, interestingly enough, we're talking about it the opposite way.
It really feels like, as that one's low for ball number 2, it really feels like they're in the driver's seat now, the Disciples are. Really they're setting the pace for the game now at this point. As Rosenthal is stealing towards second base, the pitch is popped up a mile high. Vinyaren's getting set under it, and he makes the catch. That's going to end the inning. No more runs after the two-out singles. Its score is still 6-3 after 3.5 innings on Caps TV. Bottom of the 4th inning, 2-3-4. The big guys in the Bonn Capitals batting order. Wilson Lee starting it off. He is 0 for 1. Reached base via a walk and scored a run back in the 1st inning. Now looking to get this offense started, to revive the offense, if we're being honest.
Yeah, they need these guys to come through. The meat of the order's got to come through here.
As he watches that pitch miss high for ball number 1.
Michelli, as we were saying earlier, has really settled into the game after a bit of a shaky 1st inning. But he is now on 71 pitches, so we'll have to see if he's going to be showing any signs of fatigue. But certainly he's been doing the job that Haar has set out for them here today, and that is to pitch a lot of innings and do so effectively. And minus the 1st inning, he's largely done so.
Sure has, and he's found back into this at-bat. 2 balls and 1 strike. I mean, the Bonn Capitals knew they were going to face a good pitcher, and they definitely knew his stats, and they knew him as a pitcher as well. He had his pitching appearances for the Bonn Capitals, as that one's grounded foul to the left side. He did pitch for them, especially in the playoffs, pretty effectively to that. Every time they needed more pitchers, they took him away from behind the plate and put him on the mound. Pitched in like tournaments like the Champions Cup or in playoffs and Game 5s, stuff like that. He's always been a really good, really effective pitcher. So they knew what they were in for, and they knew they had to score a lot of runs. And so far, 3 runs in 3 innings. It's not bad, of course, but it's not enough up to this point. As that one's right in there. Fastball pretty much down the middle. Strikeout looking, and that's the 1st out in the bottom half of the 1st inning.
Yeah, early on the story for the Capitals was guys left on base. Now we're starting to look at the story being guys on base and strikeouts.
Yeah, that's the 5th strikeout for Nick Michelli on the day. And 3 of those have come in the past 1.5 innings.
Yeah, like we have 4. He's thrown 4 walks, but I think most of those, if not all of them, were. Like he's set. He's focused in there.
As that breaking ball in the dirt. Not too happy about that pitch. As that's ball number 1 to Daniel M. Hunt. He's been on base both times so far. Walked in the 1st, doubled in the 2nd. and was pretty pumped up about that. But that is actually the last hit the Bonn Capitals had.
Yeah.
That dates all the way back to the second inning. That Daniel Lempunt double that got stranded out there on second base. And ever since then, it's been nothing.
You know what I didn't know, Tom? I was doing some research here, better phrased as you were doing some research here. Did you know the Capitals have combined for 16 German championships?
I didn't know until earlier today when I found that out, actually.
Well, thank you for you allowed. Well, I stole your notes, and it says they shared those between Bundesliga, softball Bundesliga, and titles for various youth teams. So, not too bad here in Bonn.
Definitely one of the more successful teams in German baseball history.
Do you want to know some other research I was spending time on today and found out?
Please enlighten me.
So, in 2023, they led the Northern Bundesliga in average. That's 293 in home runs. 27. Second team, Paderborn, only had 13. And RBI hits, extra base hits, runs, and a whole bunch of other things.
Yeah, so they've definitely been the best defensive team in the north, as Daniel Lempunt gets hit by that pitch. I do think it missed the elbow guard, but it was on an off-speed pitch, so didn't hurt too much by the looks of it.
No, it sounded like it sounded like it hit skin actually from up here.
Yeah, just besides the elbow guard, I think. Anyways, he's on first base with only one out. And maybe that's what they needed. I do think I said that before.
They need something.
Klinsing reached on that error in the last inning and got stranded at first. But now, Taro Joyce will get the chance to hit. He reached on an error in the first, got walked intentionally in the second. And now watches fastball strike number 1 over the outside corner.
Joyce, the guy to do it too. League leading in home runs.
He can definitely get this back to a 1-run game in a hurry.
So anytime you need more crack research, Tom, you just call on me. Or feel free to leave your notes around.
We'll happily do that.
No, but Tom spends a lot of time on these numbers in between games, and it's impressive, the numbers that you crunch and the stats that you come up with each game, Tom.
Oh, thanks. It's a lot of fun to do these broadcasts, do these games. And watch the Capitals lose
Hey, well,
some games
let's
and
keep a positive attitude.
Win more so far this season.
2-1 count.
Yeah, it's been a surprising amount of losses so far this season at 8. I mean, you're of course talking from a very privileged standpoint. The Capitals, they had several seasons where they won every single game in the Northern Bundesliga. Of course, the overall level of play in the Bundesliga has increased. More and more teams getting to a really high level and being able to compete with the best teams in Germany. For example, the Hamburg Steelers are having a really, really good year. And as we saw, they beat Regensburg in Game 1 of their quarterfinal matchup.
By hook or by crook, too. Wild pitch got him there.
Sometimes that's all you need, as Terrell Joyce strikes out swinging. Daniel Lempunt just gets back to first on the back pick by catcher William Thorpe, but that's another strikeout.
Number 6.
Number 6 for Nick Michalek. Still hasn't a lot of hits since the second inning.
No, second inning.
He's getting better and better, and now missing bats. As that's going to bring up Vinjarens, the catcher. 0 for 2 for him.
I believe he also struck out with the bases loaded.
He did, struck out looking at that on a changeup that just fell right through the strike zone. And he swings with the first pitch, pops it back, but that's going to get out of play.
Almost at the old broadcast booth, Tom.
I think it came down a bit short and almost took out some food out over there by the food stand.
No. They can destroy the building, but do not destroy the food.
That's what I'm saying.
Protect the barbecue at all costs. People, fine. Barbecue, important.
Talking about barbecue, have we secured 2 burgers each for after the game yet? I don't think we did.
We better send some children on a mission. People.
Vinjarens down to the count. No ball, 1 strike.
Tasty burgers here.
Oh, most definitely. Another back pick, and this one's even closer, but Daniel M. Hunt gets back with the slide.
There's a few close ones at first base with him there.
Also surprising, Vinny Arens was showing bunt there on that.
Yeah, again, we said it before, but there's a game tomorrow at 1 o'clock. If you're listening and you're in Bonn, come on out to the game. It's a lot of fun. We love having you on, but we love having you here as well.
That one outside for ball number 2.
Now let's talk about tickets. And now you can, you don't have to reserve them in advance.
Exactly. You can just come out to the ballpark and buy them right at the entrance. It's always free for members of the club of the Bonn Capitals. They can get in for free. Single game tickets are 10 euros. And games for both games this weekend, I mean, you won't have to buy those anymore if you just come out tomorrow. But they were 18 euros. So really affordable price for some great baseball. The best baseball pretty much Germany has to offer.
I would say so. Root for the home team.
As that's a line shot right to the shortstop, playing on the right side of second base. So shifted to perfection. Nick Michelli gets through one more inning without allowing any hits or runs. We're through 4, Haar Disciples 6, Bonn Capitals 3.
Wer so aussieht, kann kein Vorbild sein? Wer solche Nägel trägt, ist fake? Frauen verstehen nichts vom Game? Are you mad, Mann? Ich bitte dich. Und Rap ist nur für Männer? Check das lieber nochmal. Und Typen wollen mir irgendwas erzählen. So und so hat deine Frau sich zu benehmen. Wenn du das so gut könntest, dann brauch ich es nicht, okay? Dann sei du doch diese Frau, hast du mit mir ein Problem. Und wenn du denkst, die Telekom ist teuer? Check mal das hier.
Für die Disciples mit dem Catcher Nummer 34, William Thorpe.
Going into the top of the 5th inning, Yanni Orfanidis still out there on the mound. They're going to need some more innings out of him, that's for sure.
Yeah, they are. And they are going to need innings, but they're also going to need some runs. It's been a bit of a drought after that first inning where they came on strong.
Very, very quiet ever since. As that first pitch sinker is in there for strike number 1 to William Thorpe, the catcher.
Yeah.
The Haar Disciples.
It's been a long time since the first inning, so it might be a good opportunity now, if that comes in for a strike, is to go back and see where the runs were scored and what's been happening in the game. We'll try to take you through that rather quickly. In the first, Terrell Joyce reached first on an error by shortstop Callum Murphy in an 0-2 count. Eric Brink scored. Wilson Lee went to third. Daniel M. Hunt went to second on that. It's probably a little too much information. In the first also, that was
foul tip to the catcher's mask, but that's what you got a mask on for.
There you go. Fildrick Llewellyn in the first also singled on a full count, scoring Wilson Lee. In the second, Danny Lancor homered on the first pitch, so it was a nice hit right over the left field fence. Now this is where Haar starts to take over, is in the third. Callum Murphy walked in a full count, scoring Nate Thomas. He walked, And
that's popped up on the infield. Playable for second baseman Daniel Lampont, who makes the catch. Quick out number 1.
Wow, you really interrupt me as I was stumbling through that.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it was
recap.
too much action going on.
No, thank you for that. So let's go back to the third as well. I'll get through this a little more quickly. Rosenthal doubled on a 1-2 count, scoring Simon Lechner. And also in that inning, Louis Bicknell grounded into a fielder's choice, scoring Callum Murphy. And finally, Miguel Pinheiro was safe at first, and an error by third baseman Danny Sanchez, scoring Lucas Bickle and William Thorpe. And that's that. You've been brought up to date now on the scoring, as scattered as that may have seemed.
That equals a 6-3 lead, as that one's lined into right field, and that's a nice sliding catch by Anthony Klinsing. As on that one, he didn't stop hustling and came in all the way, made a nice sliding catch for out number 2.
That's right. Let's hope that infuses some life, not only into the defense, but the offense as well. And you're right. Every time we say something, it does come around to bite us in the end. So only positive things now to say about every member on both teams.
And Yanni Orfanit is also loving that play by his right fielder.
It's a big smile out there in right field.
There's that first pitch to left fielder Nguyen Schmidt. Misses inside for ball number 1. Schmidt had both of his first 2 at-bats in the same inning in the third, where the Haar disciples hit around in the lineup. He is 0 for 1 with a walk. And now up for the third time. Ahead in the count 2-0. As he swings and misses. Couldn't catch up to the sinker.
We look at some of the more detailed stats here. In terms of walk, both teams have walked 4. In strikeouts thrown, Haar is ahead 6-3 in terms of strikeouts, and they're equal on total bases. So it looks close on paper, but ultimately Haar is ahead.
And also, what's important to notice, where the difference might be, Haar has left 6 men on base, which seems a lot in 4 innings, but it gets beaten by the Capitals, who left 8 men on base, as that swung on a missed. Count is full.
I think he swung after it landed in the in the catcher's glove.
Nguyen Schmidt not looking too comfortable against the Submariner out there, trying to catch on to the heat.
And I laugh only because I relate.
Afanitas takes 2 deep breaths at 3-2, and that's a wild pitch.
That's right.
Not
Keep an
close.
eye, because he's you don't want him taking the second base as well, because I saw him looking back at the catcher.
And something looked off on that pitch. I don't know what it was. That was not close. Ball 4. So another 2-out base runner. And Haar really stringing together nice at bats, getting on base, and that's what it's been for them. Just getting on base, creating some tension on the base paths, forcing errors of the Bonn defense. And it's been rewarding for them, up 6-3. And the result, maybe not too many people would have expected.
No, I don't think a lot of the people that came to the game, nor when we were describing the game at the beginning, that we would have expected a 6-run inning, let alone scoring the game. So expectations have been changed a bit here in this game.
And you can now see Orfanita starting to get a bit wild out there. Maybe a pitch count getting up there for a Submariner at 45.
He's had a strikeout and 2 walks.
But he'll have to find it and get back in it. They're not done with him yet, and no action in the bullpen so far either.
Yeah, so Music is 1 for 3 today. He scored with 2 outs. If they get to him, Simon Lechner's next.
As that one's driven to left center field, and Llewellyn makes a nice running catch out there. So 2 good catches in the outfield. Good hustle plays, and maybe that's exactly what the Capitals need to get their offense kick-started again. They're still down 6-3. We've played 4.5 innings.
Das ist Mia. Mia hat zu Hause einen richtig schönen Designboden, der aber auch leider oberflächige Schäden und tiefe Kratzer aufweist. Dr. Schutz hat dafür die Lösung mit Produkten für die Reinigung und Pflege, wie das Designboden Pflegeset und um tiefe Kratzer zu beseitigen, das Scratch Fix Repair Set. Und damit Mia genau weiß, wie man ihre Böden zu Hause perfekt pflegt und schützt, gibt es unsere Tutorials auf dem Dr. Schutz YouTube-Channel. Für Mia und euch alle. Damit muss sich Mia nicht mehr um ihre Böden sorgen, sondern kann ganz beruhigt unsere Caps anfeuern. Go Caps!
Check this out.
It hasn't been such a long time since people first started shopping online, and it was easy to keep up with the clicks. Little by little by little by more, the clicks added up to be more than the stores, and e-tailers worked harder than ever before, because they had to keep up with the clicks. All of a sudden, there are so many must-dos if you want to keep selling, like delivery there, no there, or there.
And make it tomorrow. First thing.
No time for borders. Gotta stay in control to stay in the flow and continue to grow. But we'll help you. Keep up.
Past the halfway point in this one, Caps still trailing 3 runs to the Haar Disciples in Game 1 of this best of 5 quarter-final series. Caps, of course, coming out of the number 1 seed in the north, facing Haar, the number 4 seed of the Southern Bundesliga. And trying to get back into this one, starting it off with left fielder Fildrik Llewellyn, number 23. He's 1 for 2. Had a nice base hit back in the first. Flew out to center in the second. And now trying to start off the Capitals in the fifth, as that one misses high and gets out of the catcher's glove for ball number 1. And a nice line drive, base hit into left field. He's got his second hit of the night, and that's the first base hit the Bonn Capitals have had ever since the bottom of the second inning. Good piece of hitting by Llewellyn, on for the second time and on to start off this half of the inning. Setting the table for Anthony Klinsing, batting after it. He's 0 for 2 after striking out and reaching on error.
But a really nice catch out there in right field.
Sure had that last half inning. Maybe that brought something some life into his bat as well. Trying to get at least advance that runner into scoring position. Start to chip away at that deficit. As he foul tips that one off.
I have a report from the barbecue, Tom. I counted at least a dozen burgers on the barbecue and maybe close to a dozen bratwurst on the barbecue as well. Barbecue guy doing double duty, working hard.
Right. So there's like around 6 for the people in the ballpark, around 6 for the 2 of us?
I would say that's about right.
Perfect.
Yes, based upon
Sounds
my
great.
correct research, previous eating habits. Yeah.
This game going on not too quickly. Played for just over 2 hours. We're still in the bottom of the 5th.
It's methodical is another way to put it.
Methodical? You could call it methodical, but meaning it will take quite a bit more time probably.
Indeed it might. Others may call it plodding. That's quite the lead he's got at first base.
He has, and it's been dancing around over there. Well, and maybe on the go towards second, and another throw over. Back pretty easily.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was nice to see that defense in the last inning, and I was wondering if they might carry some of that momentum over. It appears, well, with the single, maybe that is going to be the case. And as we're coming around.
The momentum in either direction has been a big part of this 2023 Capitals team, as Llewellyn thought about going to second, but made the wise decision to retrieve back to first.
I would say so. I think he would have been dead in the water.
But when they've been hot, they've been really hot and just scoring run after run. But when they've been cold and behind in games, it's been a lot.
It's
a
feast
lot
or
of
famine.
Cleansing in a 1-on-1 count against Nick Michelli. Pitch count really getting up there as well now, but he's got a bit more in his arm.
94.
One would think. Oh, 94. Quite a lot. Another throwback. Llewellyn back without a slide.
He's having himself a game. He's pitched 4 innings, 3 earned runs, 6 strikeouts, and 4 walks. All of those walks, again, almost coming in the first inning alone.
You have to keep in mind that this is a very, very strong offense he's doing this against. It's not easy to pitch against this Bonn lineup. He's been doing so really, really well ever since the second.
And you have to know this fills him with some personal satisfaction. I mean, depending on how the rest of this inning and game goes. But to pitch against your old team, there's some obviously some competitive edge that you're going to want to personally get over them.
You saw that kind of taken in the wrong direction back in the first when he complained a bit more to the umpire and then focusing on his pitching, but now he's really settled in.
Yeah,
only concerned with himself and the batter and getting them out. And ever since he started doing that, it's been really, really successful.
Hey, so what are your thoughts on putting a pitch clock in for these games if you were able to do it?
I mean, putting aside the technical side, which would be close to impossible to execute in Germany, needing all the displays and a pitch clock operator who knows what he's doing and all that stuff. Personally, the majors, I really like the change, though. The games are going so quick, and it's so much more intense because there's not so much waiting around. It just goes one way or another, but it goes that way quickly, and it's really nice and really fun. And games are down to about 2 hours and 40 minutes.
And viewership is up from what I understand. Attendance is up.
And offense is up, which is also always a great part. Llewellyn going towards second. And he is safe because the shortstop couldn't hang on to the ball. Throw was a bit low, but the pitch was called strike 3. So Anthony Cleansing down looking for the second time as Llewellyn advances to second on the stolen base.
No, and that's the right way to do it. Get some action going. You've got to get something happening on the bases, and obviously at bat as well.
And maybe they can do exactly that with the runner in scoring position. First runner.
And Sanchez looking to do something here as he's overdue on the day.
And swings haven't been looking too great. Weak fly balls to right field both times he's been up. So now trying to get a bit more ahead maybe. And more towards the ball. Hit a line drive somewhere.
I have a feeling one key hit could reignite the team here because...
Oh, definitely. Way late on that fastball.
Yeah.
As he foul tips it into the catcher's mitt for strike number 1.
Highly doubt you want to risk. As Llewellyn looks down third base coach for the signs, I doubt you're going to risk.
I mean, Llewellyn is a really fast runner, so he could try to steal, but he could also score on most singles if...
And there's no coverage. He's not being covered as the third baseman creeps in now, but...
Ooh, Danny Sanchez chasing a high one there. Down in the count. No balls, 2 strikes.
No, you see Sanchez swinging very, very wide as well, and his head, every time that he takes one of those swings, you should be looking where the ball is, and it's looking back at us almost. Got to keep your head down, keep your eye on the ball as it makes contact.
And just trying to put the ball in play. Down 0-2, and the runner on second. As now, good play to second base, good move, and sloppy base running by Fildrick Llewellyn, who gets caught napping at second base, picked off. Good move by Nick Michelli.
It was a good move.
And his shortstop, Callum Murphy, who came in running in behind Fildrick Llewellyn. But also I feel like there's a bit of lack of communication because you saw the shortstop running in for quite some time towards second base. It was obvious that play was going to happen, but there was no communication from the bench or the third base coach of the Bonn Capitals signaling Llewellyn to go back to the base. So he's picked off as Sanchez It's a pop fly into center field, and that's going to put an end to the inning. No runs for the Capitals. We are through 5. Disciples still up by 3 runs here on Caps TV. They're
Anyway.
going to have trouble winning games.
So what's this thing with no assists?
Not a single ground ball recorded, not a single outfield assist. So I looked up the definition of an assist because I couldn't believe it. And it's any out recorded with a different guy touching the ball before the out is made. So any ground ball which is hit to the shortstop and he fields it and throws it to first, that's an assist. There was not a single assist all game.
How does this happen? I mean,
just flyouts and strikeouts.
And that's it.
That's it, apparently.
That's interesting. That was 1906?
That was back in 1906. Pickoff move to second base.
They tried the same thing as they did last inning, but not quite as successful.
Back pretty easily.
Oh, look at him. Look at him on second. He's thinking of maybe going because Orfanidis isn't paying attention to him. He's not going to go now. But he was eyeing it. You can see him. Sanchez is a little too close to third, though.
Yeah, but there is a chance to catch the Bonn Capitals napping on defense sometimes.
Yeah, I would say today they've shown a bit of that for sure. So we talked about what else happened. I mean, 1906. I love history, so you got to tell me more.
1967, the Atlanta Braves used a major league record 5 pitchers in the 9th inning of a 5-4 win over the St. Louis Cardinals. The pitchers were Ken Johnson, Ramon Hernandez, Claude Raymond, Dick Kelly, and Cecil Upshaw. So 5 pitchers needed to close out that game and win it by a single run.
And you wonder why the games took 5-6 hours to play sometimes. You know what was bad for that was Buck Showalter when he was coaching the Orioles. Oh, my gosh. It would take forever. 3 different pitchers, 3 different guys.
The record to this day for one inning, still 5 pitchers in an inning. And then back in 2000, in Seattle's 13-5 win over the Texas Rangers, that was interrupted for 54 minutes when a rainstorm drenched fans at Safeco Field and the $518 million stadium's roof wouldn't close because of a computer problem. The roof finally began closing around 20 minutes later.
Good
so
job.
That was a fun one as well.
Who would have expected rain in Seattle, though? Come on.
That's what they have that roof for, but once it doesn't close, it's just...
Tom, I see that your information has run out on your page, but you've forgotten one important thing. Very important birthday on this day.
As Nate Thomas strikes out swinging. Sorry to interrupt for out number 1.
No, because it's relevant. Because speaking of strikeouts, today in 1957, Dave Stieb was born.
One of my favorite Blue Jays to ever pitch and ever took the ball. I mean, his slider was lights out.
Okay, this is BS because I just told you that between innings you didn't know who this guy was, and it's shameful, and you should apologize to people. Anyway, yeah, Dave Stieb pitched for the Jays. Great player. Famous for his slider, but also for adjusting himself on the mound about 30 times between pitches. I mean, my God, it was like either Neil was escaping or something like that. It was absolutely terrible. But anyway, that's history. That's baseball. And back here, still a guy in second.
Still the guy in second as that one's hard to third base, but a nice sliding stop by Danny Sanchez and a strong throw over to first base. That's not an easy play, but a nice play made by Danny Sanchez to retire Callum Murphy for out number 2 and to also keep the runner over there at second.
Yeah, and he's made some nice. Danny Sanchez has made some nice plays this year. He's a good-looking third baseman out there. He's held that corner down. Rough spot back a couple of innings ago when he threw on to first base, but I think that was more of the question of digging it out. He was throwing on the run.
Yeah, but that was a very nice play to keep that runner over there and make the second out. Now, as Yanni Orfanides goes back to the overhead delivery and misses for ball number 1. Still the runner out there at second. But we've seen Yanni Orfanides go to that pitch over the top more often today, I feel like. Because oftentimes he used it like once or twice in an outing in an important 2-strike, 2-out spot to get the final strike and get out of the inning. But we've seen it a couple times already today.
Yeah, that was pitch number 60, by the way. And he's thrown 2 strikeouts and 2 walks, but he's been steady in there. He's pitched 3 innings now. This is what they needed from him.
Definitely. Remarkable. I mean, it's impressive to see 60 pitches out of that arm slot. I mean, 55 of those probably were delivered submarine.
Yeah, and remember, when he came into the game, it was sort of spilling over. Things were looking bad. He came in, stopped the water, and has sort of stemmed that tide of runs. I have more water analogies, if you'd like. All of them as equally awkward as that.
4-pitch walk to Josef Rosenthal, the center fielder of the Haar Disciples. He's on for the 3rd time tonight. They've really done a nice job at putting base runners, getting them on, getting them around to score. And deservedly so, they're still up 6-3. As with now 2 runners on, that's going to bring up DH Lucas Piquet.
Yeah, he hasn't joined that run parade today. He is 0 for 3.
But he has scored a run after reaching on that fielder's choice.
True enough, I guess he did come around. He didn't lead to the. He didn't initiate the run. Let's say he came around. Supposedly
he came around.
All right.
Can agree on that.
All right.
But 0 for 3 for him. Now a good spot for him. He will have to get on base on his own this time with 2 outs. And he swings and chops it to second base. Daniel Lampon charges it.
What?
And a high throw over the head of Wilson Lee. And After missing the tag on the base runner, Josef Rosenthal, moving to second, he just lobbed it over the head of Wilson Lee, and that's going to allow the 7th Haar run to score. So the last 4 Haar runs, all of the runs there in the lead now, have just come off a sloppy Bonn defense.
Yeah, there really is no excuse for that. I know it's a pressure-filled game, but you have to be able to, especially in the playoffs, come up with that ball and throw it on to first. Yes, he missed the tag, but he's not so far away that he couldn't have gotten that. So anyway, regardless, the guy's on, and now they've added one more, and it's even harder road back.
And that's the thing I'm really not too happy about with this year's Bonn Capitals. I mean, you lose some players and you lose some quality and lose games because of that, because your team is not that great anymore or not as good as it used to be. That's all right. But losing it because of a lack of energy, lack of hustle, and sloppy defense, sloppy base running, all the stuff we've seen come together in this game so far, and that's really not too understandable, as that bunt is a beauty down the third baseline. Danny Sanchez does not have a play. And that's a bunt single. And that's going to make it 8-3 as William Thorpe, the catcher, lays down a 2-out drag bunt base hit.
Yeah, and if you're going to be teaching kids to bunt, that is one example that you would show, really just straight as an arrow down the third base line, just out of reach of the third baseman. By the time he got it, it was far too late. Orfanitas visibly upset on the mound, and I mean, I would be as well. He's had some shaky defense behind him, and the bunt certainly didn't help.
It's a really unfortunate inning for him. He gave up a leadoff double and a walk, and then that big error by Daniel Lampard. Now the bunt single. It's been really unlucky. He's been making some good pitches.
Yep, agreed. I wouldn't put this on Orfanitas at all.
Yeah. But also surprising to see. Just saw someone of the Haar coaching staff wave out to the bullpen, so it feels like somebody will be up and throwing and maybe replacing Nick Michelli pretty soon.
That may be an opening for them. I mean, you're up 5 runs.
And now hit on the first pitch is Miguel Pinheiro. So he reaches base the painful way. And William Thorpe moving up to second base for Lucas Pickle up to third. The bases are loaded with 2 outs for Niels Schmidt.
And let's remember, they almost got out of the inning when Lam Hunt had that ball in the miscue and he threw over the head of the first baseman. So they could have avoided all of this.
Sure. And they should have avoided it, to be honest, because that's what you need to do if you want to win the playoffs. The bases are loaded for Niels Schmidt, who has walked twice and flown out to left field. His 4th opportunity, and that's strike number 1. Good sinker over the bottom part of the strike zone.
Yeah, so Haar's got 8 runs. They've hit 9 times. So it's, for Bonn, of course, 3 runs on 6 hits. And this is, it's tough for Bonn to be going through this right now. It's tough to watch, obviously, but they can still get out of this. And it is still possible road back.
Oh, definitely. With how strong the offense has been, and maybe if they can get into the Haar bullpen, which does not quite have the same quality that the starting pitching has, there could definitely be a way back into this game. I mean, taking a game 1 of a 5-game set is such a huge part in winning a series. So they can't be giving away this game and just get resignated and think, oh, this game is over anyway, because it's not. It's a 5-run game.
No, especially, and I think the key is getting into that bullpen, seeing what else they have to offer up.
And the first
there we go.
part to that is getting out of the inning. Strikeout looking of Niels Schmidt ends the top of the 6th, but not before. The Haar Disciples put up 2 more runs. The lead is now 8-3.
Bin ich jetzt von Bonn. Rally Time für die Capitals. Los geht's mit der Nummer 37, Centerfielder Danny Lancor.
Bottom of the 6th inning, and Danny Lankhorst starting it off with the Capitals. And the last time he led off an inning, did it with a home run.
That's right. He hit that big one. What inning was that? Is back in
Bottom of the second.
The
it
second,
was.
yes.
Last bit of offense for the Bonn Capitals up to this point. And he takes that one high.
Yeah, he's had a bit of a game today. He's hit the home run. He's had a nice catch out in right. So he's shown up. Let's see if the rest of the team is willing to show up in this last part of the game as well.
Half swing, and he did go around. That's called by Kevin Music down there at first base. So that's a swing and strike number 1.
So let's talk about a road back, because they're down 5 runs. If they can get to Michelli, comes in, you've got Brent coming up, you've got Wilson Lee coming up, and of course then you're just into the heart of the order. But the key, of course, is that they have to hit the ball, but the potential is there for a win still.
It always feels like it with this offense. As that it's cued into short right. Second baseman makes the spin throw to first, and they got him. Nice play out in short right field by Simon Lechner.
He
had to get out way into short right field on that. Make a spin throw against a speedy runner as well.
He got to that in a hurry, admittedly. Very nice play. Bang, bang play at first base, but I do think they got the call right on that one.
Certainly looked out as long as Pinheiro hit the bag, which looked like he did. So that's a nice play for out number 1, and that's going to turn the lineup over for Eric Brink, the shortstop.
Emphatic shake-off by Michelli of his catcher.
I think he shook off more pitches than he's throwing. That's just my impression. He went with the fastball inside.
And I like the nod afterwards to confirm that indeed was the right choice.
And shaking off again.
I get a kick out of watching him.
That's maybe a breaking ball, and that's hit to third by Eric Brink. But the play is made. 2 ground outs, 2 quick outs, retiring the first 2 Capitals to this half inning.
Remember what we said about a road back, a possible path? Remember when I said it depended on hitting the ball? That still
and
stands.
Getting to Michelli, yeah,
it
still does, but they're not doing it so far.
If you want to get to the bullpen, you've got to see more pitches.
Have you ever tried yourself as a hitting coach, though? That'd be my question.
The real question is, have you ever tried to hit? And the answer is, I'm very much better at suggestion than execution.
That's all you need to do as a hitting coach, right?
That's true, unless you work for the New York Yankees. Anyway.
Being a hitting coach feels like, just hit the ball. Come on. Just do it. And don't swing at the bat ones.
You could. What is the secret formula? Just get up there and swing. Keep your eyes on the ball. Keep your head up. Okay, coach.
That's
Thanks.
all I ever heard from coaches.
Yeah.
That tried to fix my hitting. To no success, I might add.
Well, we're on the same boat. That's why we're up here and they're down there on the field.
Right.
As Michelli almost looks at us as we say that.
I don't think it would go well with us 2 down there. I don't think.
No, but it'd be really, really funny for people watching.
Oh, definitely. But who would broadcast it?
That's a good question. Get Wilson Lee up here.
He checked his swing too late. The count is 2 balls, 2 strikes. So Michelli just 1 strike away from getting to another scoreless inning, which he does. Strike 3. Strikeout swing against Wilson Lee. Nothing coming in the bottom of the 6th. The Capitals still down 5 runs here on Caps TV. Our batting order starting anew to start the last third of this ball game. Leadoff hitter Patrick Music leading off and fouling the first pitch back. 0-1. Orfanita's still out there.
Music 1 for 4 today and has scored like 6 others.
And he lines that one over the head of Daniel Lampun, so that's going to be his second base hit of the day, and he's on to start the 7th inning.
That's the 10th hit by Haar today.
That's probably leading to a better average of the 198 they came into this game with.
Yeah, remember way back at the beginning of the game when we said, boy, oh boy, Bonn really just needs some mediocre hitting to get by this average 198 team. Well, we have been proved incorrect.
Just slightly.
Just slightly. Came out hitting today, Haar did, and that continues at much of the detriment of the Capitals.
So the next guy up is Simon Lechner. He doubled back in the 6th inning and scored a run. What I thought could be a fun thing to do with the playoffs just starting now, just kind of go through it and give out our suggestions as to how the playoffs might go and who might be crowned German champion at the end of these playoffs. It's another good bunt. Danny Sanchez makes the play though this time. A sacrifice bunt by Simon Lechner.
They can hit and they can bunt today. 2 very well executed bunts. Very nice sacrifice bunt, pushing the runner up to second base.
But also a good play by Danny Sanchez to get the out at first base.
Yeah.
So as all of our predictions today have been wrong so far, let's keep them.
Let's keep it rolling.
Let's
at least
keep it
we're
rolling.
Consistent. Yeah.
All right, first quarterfinal matchup, the one we're seeing right now, the 22-8 Bonn Capitals, first seed in the North, facing off against the 4th seed of the South, the Haar Disciples, who came in with a record of 10-14. Who do you think is going to advance?
Well, Tom, my opinion has modified somewhat since the beginning of the game.
As Nate Thomas crushes one, but foul to the right side.
As they pray that one foul. I still think Bonn is going to win. I think that it's going to be a hell of a lot tougher than they thought it was going to be. Haar has been a surprise. They've been very interesting to watch, and they played both big ball and small ball very well today.
I would have to agree. I still do think Bonn lineup and pitching has enough quality to get past Haar, but we could very well be proved wrong. Second matchup is the 2nd seed Hamburg Steelers, finished the season at 19-11, facing off against the Regensburg Legionäre, who surprisingly did finish the South in 3rd place with a record of 16-8. And Hamburg did take game 1 of that series. We talked about that earlier on in the broadcast.
I'm going Hamburg on that one.
Going Hamburg?
I'm going on Hamburg with that one with limited knowledge, admittedly. But Hamburg has played very well this year, and they're coming off really a momentum creator today. Even if the game ended, a wild pitch ended that game in the bottom of the 9th, so what? They've got the momentum. I think they're going to carry that through.
Interesting pick. I do think I'll still favor Regensburg a bit on that, as Nate Thomas grounds one off the glove of Danny Sanchez into the glove of Eric Brenk, but safe at first. Nate Thomas legs it out. Good play by Eric Brenk, as that one
play by
was hit off Danny Sanchez's glove into the glove of Eric Brenk, but the throw not in time. Nate Thomas is safe at first on the infield single, and Patrick Music advances to 3rd base. Runners on the corners with 1 out.
It looked close.
It was a very close play.
That's all I'll say.
For sure. So runners on the corners, let's keep it going. You have Bonn and Hamburg advancing, so favoring the northern teams. In the next matchup, first place in the South, the Heidenheim Heidekampfer, finished the season at 22-2 against 4th place Dorenwild Farmers, who finished the season 11.
It's got to be the
17.
farmers. Let's listen. I am a farmer. I come from a farm. I have to go far.
All right, I'll put in Heidenheim for you. And Nate Thomas on his way to second, as that's driven high and deep to left field. Llewellyn turns, looks, and that ball is gone. 3-run home run. What a shot by Callum Murphy. He's having a game for himself. That's his 3rd hit of the game, and it's a big one, extending the lead to 11-3. And now it really feels a bit out of reach for the Capitals here in game 1.
Tom, my question is, how do we go into YouTube, and erase all the things we said at the beginning of this game about the paltry, I think we called it, sporadic, weak hitting by the Haar Disciples, which, of course, has been anything but the case here today in Bonn as Yanni leaves the mound.
He's out of the game after 3+ innings of work. 3 and a 3rd innings of work, and it's going to be Danny Sanchez taking over on the mound. Luis Martin taking over at 3rd. Gives us a chance to take a small break, and we'll be right back after the pitching change.
Danny Sanchez kommt auf Mount ehemals vom dritten Base. Jetzt Nummer 19 im Spiel, das ist Luis Martin. Das war der Hinweis. Morgen geht's weiter in der Serie. 13 Uhr, Spiel 2. Dann hoffentlich mit einem zumindest besseren Zwischenstand auf Sicht der Capitals. Noch ist ja nicht vorbei, aber bereits der Stand ist mit hoch übrigens. Aber weiter geht's jetzt mit Danny Sanchez als Pitcher und am Start mit der 36. Das ist der Center.
Base is empty after that 3-run home run and pitching change. Danny Sanchez from third base now on the mound. Luis Martin enters the game at third base. So to keep our little thing going here, we still got the Mainz Athletics, second seed of the Southern League, where they finished 18-6, facing off against the third seed Paderborn Untouchables, who went 19-11.
Paderborn's had a great year.
They sure had. They won 4 out of 6 against the Capitals. So, and I mean, they made it to the finals last season.
I don't know. You first this time. I've gone first the last 3
Yeah,
times.
it's your bracket. Come on.
All right.
But I feel like
I'm going.
if I had to decide, I would probably go Mainz. I don't know.
You saw me about to say that. That's why you just did that. I say Mainz.
Because that one's popped up
Or
in
Mainz.
foul ground. On the right side, Wilson Lee will make the catch for out number 2.
Well,
So we're both going Mainz, right?
Yeah, we're both going Mainz.
All right.
So
the semifinals would mean, by what you just said, it would be the Bonn Capitals against the Mainz Athletics.
I know everybody's going to hate it, but I really think Bonn's got not far to go in these playoffs, judging by the weak pitching that we've seen today. Not necessarily just the weak pitching, but the sort of lack of depth that they had once you start getting into trouble. In fact, you know, Yanni's pitched well today. He's filled in admirably, but look, I mean, the holes are exposed. I think it's going to be a big, big challenge against a team like Mainz.
I would have to agree. And the second semifinal matchup would be Hamburg against Heidenheim.
Well, based on the past, I know it's not always a good indication of the future, but I have to go Heidenheim on that
It
one.
feels like it's going to be Heidenheim, right? And
Yeah.
who do you got in the finals? Mine's Heidenheim.
As much as I hate to say it, I think it's Heidenheim.
It feels like a logical choice, doesn't it? Because there's no real competitor this season from the north.
No.
And Heidenheim has just been dominating the South all season long, and it just feels like they're most likely going to take it. That's that one.
Alternative path is Bonn wakes up. You know, they can somehow regroup from this. The pitching comes together a bit better. There's a lot of ifs in this. And they are able to get through, in that which case we'd have that classic, as we're done, we'd have that classic ending between Heidenheim and Bonn. But let's see. Not an easy path from here.
Danny Sanchez retires both hitters he faces, strikes out Lucas Bigger to put an end to the top of the 7th inning as we head into the 7th inning break. Haar now leading by 8.
Wer so aussieht, kann kein Vorbild sein? Wer solche Nägel trägt, ist fake? Frauen verstehen nichts vom Game. Are you mad, Mann? Ich bitte dich. Und Rap ist nur für Männer? Check das lieber nochmal. Und Typen wollen mir irgendwas erzählen. So und so hat deine Frau sich zu benehmen. Wenn du das so gut könntest, dann brauch ich es nicht, okay? Denn sei du doch diese Frau, hast du mit mir ein Problem. Und wenn du denkst, die Telekom ist teuer? Check mal das hier.
Das ist Mia. Mia hat zu Hause einen richtig schönen Designboden, der aber auch leider oberflächige Schäden und tiefe Kratzer aufweist. Dr. Schütz hat dafür die Lösung mit Produkten für die Reinigung und Pflege, wie das Designboden-Pflegeset und um tiefe Kratzer zu beseitigen, das Scratch Fix Repair Set. Und damit Mia genau weiß, wie man ihre Böden zu Hause perfekt pflegt und schützt, gibt es unsere Tutorials auf dem Dr. Schütz YouTube-Channel. Für Mia und euch alle. Damit muss sich Mia nicht mehr um ihre Böden sorgen, sondern kann ganz beruhigt unsere Caps anfeuern. Go Caps!
Second baseman, Lancor.
For the 7th inning, we got a pitching change on the side of the Haar Disciples. Nick Michelli no longer in the game. What was his pitch count at?
It was 116.
Wonderful. So, good day of work for him. He gave up 3 in the first 2 innings and then home.
We missed the guy, obviously.
We sure do this season, and he's being relieved by number 8, Jan Endriat? I think it's Endriat.
Yeah.
He's on the mound for the 7th. Starts off Daniel Lampon with a strike.
Let's take a look at what his season stats were. He didn't appear a lot. I mean, he's got a 1-0 record. He's pitched 14 innings. Let's see. He's got 11 walks, though, in that 14 innings. 13 strikeouts, an ERA of 3.14.
So pretty solid arm out of the bullpen for the Disciples. Of course, 8-run lead seems pretty secure, but don't want to take your chances and get the opposing offense back rolling.
One thing that he has in common with Michelli is a mustache.
Yeah, it's mandatory for the playoffs if you want to pitch, I think.
Yeah, it's not quite as luxurious.
As Lamphunt pops one up into shallow center field. Who's going to take it? Center fielder Rosenthal makes the catch. One quick out in the bottom of the 7th for the Bonn Capitals. That's going to bring up Terrell Joyce. He singled was... Oh, it's Luis Martin. Exactly. With the pitching change with Danny Sanchez going on the mound, the Bonn Capitals no longer have a DH, so it's going to be third baseman Luis Martin.
Yeah, and Martin has a batting average of 123.
So you can clearly tell. It's a bit of a surprising game plan because even if the game did go differently, it would have been Eric Brank relieving Yanni Orfanides, which would have done the same thing, removing the DH, removing Terrell Joyce out of this lineup for Luis Martin, which seems like a bit of an interesting choice, if I'm being honest.
Seems somewhat counterintuitive.
Check swing, ground ball to the right side, second baseman out in short right, and he beat that out.
What do we say, Tom? Anything we're saying has been contradicted.
Our predictions have been as good as Bonn Capitals have been playing today.
That's exact.
I think that's the way to sum it up.
Couldn't put it better.
Infield single for Luis Martin, who's 1 for 1 in the day.
Low average, on base he goes.
One at bat, he's had more hits today as Terrell Joyce has had. So he's on first.
Yeah. Also, we're not coaches. Just pointing that out. This is we may make the big bucks, but we don't know.
You're making big bucks for this?
No.
Is there something I'm missing?
No.
That's going to bring up catcher Vinny Arends, who swings and misses at a breaking ball in the dirt for strike number 1.
Yeah, Arends has had a hard day at the plate, like many others on the Capitals, 0 for 3.
If I'm still counting correctly, they're at 7 hits on the day, which is not a lot.
No, it's not a lot, especially compared to the 12 hits and 11 runs that Haar has. Hardly the same amount.
Oh. Nice one.
You may be the only one to laugh at that.
But even more surprising to you, you thought I was messing with you before the game when I told you "ha" in German actually means hair.
It does.
It does.
Okay.
It actually does.
I thought you were
so
my leg.
If I would be commentating in German, I would have so many good hair puns ready to go, but it's a bit tougher in English.
I've been trying to be good. No, you know, it is a little bit harder.
Harder?
Har.
Oh, we should stop, probably. 2-1 count. Too many Arends says that one's low.
Yeah, we don't want to offend our listener.
Now, in a good hitter's count at 3-1. As anyone listening can probably tell.
We can just say you now, as you.
Probably.
No, I'm kidding. Thanks, everybody who's hung in so far. It really is appreciated. We're having a lot of fun up here despite the score.
Sure do, but being in the ballpark, it doesn't really seem like too much of a competitive game anymore. There's not a lot of energy left in these Bonn Capitals.
No.
Not a lot to win left in them. It really feels like they just want this game to end pretty quickly and to get some rest before tomorrow's game 2.
Yes, indeed. So that'll bring up Llewellyn. He's 2 for 3 today. One of the bright spots in the lineup. He's got an RBI and a stolen base.
But he's been also picked off in the 5th inning at second base.
I left that part out.
Yeah, I just looked down at my score sheet and was like, oh, what did I write down there? Oh, right, he was picked off. But he's now got his chance with the 2 runners on. Just 1 out as he watches that one for ball number 1.
You know what I would really enjoy, and maybe it's a bit late, we should do this at the start of the game. I'd love it if people who are listening or watching could write in, tell us where you're from. That would be interesting. Maybe tomorrow we can review them and take a look at where our viewers are listening from. I know there's some parents listening in North America for some of the players.
That one's a hard grounder, but just barely foul down the third base line.
And I know that it's probably tough for parents to be so far away from their kids performing out here on the field. Of course, we have lots of fun up here. We never intentionally trying. We know how hard the game is because we actually play the game ourselves. Tom and I actually practice on the same team. Tom plays some actual games, as does Tom up here as well. So we know how hard it is. Sometimes you laugh out of frustration, but really, thanks for tuning in.
Gotta say, these emotions, I haven't felt them all season as we're 6-0. You could have mentioned that.
Now,
we're 6-0 in this season. Come on.
Yes, you guys are doing very, very well. Now, these one thing people have to understand is I'm a little bit older than the rest of the players on the team, maybe by twice the age. And
come on,
they're so nice to let me play, and it's a lot of fun. And it really helps put things into perspective sometimes when you're up there trying to face an 80.
Llewellyn drives one to deep left field. Left fielder turning around, and that ball is gone.
3-run shot.
And he's fired up and trying to fire up his dugout. That's might
right.
Just be what they needed. Because all of a sudden, the deficit is down to 5 runs.
Wow.
That came out of nowhere.
Wow. So, again, just proving, Tom, that the opposite of whatever we're saying is happening.
I don't think the Capitals are going to score any more runs this game. That's what I'm saying right now, because if that keeps on going, then this might be a great one.
Yeah, to keep the trend going. No, that was a very, very nice shot out to left field just over the fence, and he's had a very interesting game. He's been one of the ones producing as we see the coach go out. And aside from that pickoff at second base, he's really played well today, Llewellyn has. He was a good pickup last year. This year.
This year, yeah, he came from the Paderborn Untouchables, and he's been a great addition. Really productive offensively and defensively out in left field.
So 11-6.
11-6.
I've seen crazier things in baseball games. It can be done. It's only 5 runs.
So after the coach's visit to pitcher Jan Andriat, it's going to be Anthony Klinsing. Bases empty, 1 out in the bottom of the 7th, and he watches that one drop in for strike number 1.
1 for 3 today. He'll be followed by Sanchez and Lancor.
So the bottom of the lineup now will have to make something happen to keep this going. They don't want to stop scoring if they want to have any chance at getting back.
But we knew that once they got into this bullpen, it was possible. So
It definitely was. That's foul to the left side, but
Hands
that's
up,
going to get
folks.
out of play.
No damage done, I think.
Oh, looks good. But Anthony Klinsing down the count. No balls, 2 strikes. He struck out twice and reached on error. So when he joined the team, came back from college in the middle of the season, the first few games he was red hot, batting over 600 is what I remember. After like 6 or 8 games, he's batting over 600. Ever since then, he's kind of cooled off a bit. He's been struggling ever since the European Champions Cup. It's not really been getting a lot done offensively as he dribbles that one. Back to the pitcher, who takes and flips it to first. Surprisingly close over there.
Yeah, closer, and he flips it to him on the ground. I know it's tough for, it's an awkward play for a pitcher to make, but whew, that was close.
Closer than it needed to be, that's for sure. So that's going to retire Anthony Klinsing for the second out. And going to bring up Danny Sanchez.
Yeah, so the pitcher is only pitched 2/3 of an inning, and he's got 3 earned runs, no strikeouts, and a walk, so on 19 pitches. Some challenges for him. Sanchez looking to help his own cause, of course. He's 0 for 3 in the day.
Maybe he just needed to get onto the mound to find his bat again as well. He's flown out 3 times. Does not look too comfortable in the box.
Not against Michelli, that's for sure.
But from what we've seen at Ayat, pretty similar pitching style to Michelli. Fastball, curveball, changeup. Similar slot, similar velocity. But somehow they still managed to score 3 runs against him. As many as they scored against Michelli through 6.
Yep. And it was for the fans that have stuck around, there's still some hope there for them.
I don't think anyone here in the ballpark, at least any Bonn fans, have left yet. So
no, and
they still
credit
have
to
hope.
them. Credit to them.
Danny Sanchez down in the count. 0 and no balls. 2 strikes. As he starts his swing but didn't go around, according to Kevin Muzic, and that was...
Still some life.
You've talked about it, only struck out 4 times throughout the regular season, and he was an everyday player for the Capitals, so
yeah,
it's a really good number. He doesn't strike out; he gets the ball in play.
You were saying that that Haar does not want to play under the lights so badly, but they're going to be coming on soon enough.
I mean, the game time's at 3 hours now already, and we're still in the 7th inning. So definitely a long one, as that's a hard hit base hit up the middle for Danny Sanchez. He got to that hanging breaking ball and crushed it right back where it came from. Here's a 2-out base runner for the Capitals and some life here in the bottom of the 7th.
Let's see if the number 9 batter can keep the train going to flip the order over to Brink, who's waiting on deck.
And he's shown he's more than a number 9 hitter. He can hit one over the fence. He has some power. He can hit for average, as he has done all throughout the season, around 300 in his batting average.
That's right. And
So
that was a nice home run. We've seen a couple of them today.
And he'll look to keep this inning alive, keep it going. Any runs they can get back here in the 7th would be so important in trying to make it come back. As the first pitch hits
hit him.
Danny Lankhorst. That might not be the greatest thing to do if you're Haar, if you're Jan Elriat.
That's one way for the number 9 hitter to get on.
And it's especially bad when after a number 9 hitter is not just any leadoff hitter, but Eric Brink. This batting average of over 400.
That's right. And again, our pick for MVP of the league.
And he just has 1 hit so far, so
yes,
below his usual numbers.
Yeah. So 2 on and 2 out, but what an opportunity for Bonn. And dare we have hope and say something positive, which would immediately reverse fortunes, Tom, based on
So you're saying he's definitely going to strike out.
Oh,
so
you're right, right, yes. Reverse psychology in action, folks.
That'd be really funny if it worked, though. I mean, our predictions have been all over the place tonight. It's been... Ooh. And getting a bit wild there.
Yeah, people are upset that it almost hit Brink, but I'm pretty sure it was not intentional in any form or fashion.
You wouldn't want to hit 2 guys to fill the bases for Wilson Lee.
Right.
I don't think that's what you want to do. The count is 1 ball, no strikes. To Eric Brink. And that's a good take down low on that breaking ball I just missed. And not too happy, smiling a bit about that call.
Yeah, well, hey, I guess that's funny. But the umpire has that delayed call, so you're like, and it's a right, okay.
And he gets up from his stance the same way, no matter if he's calling it a strike or a ball. So it's just a big waiting game. That's ball 3.
Yeah, and if I'm Brink, just let's see what this one looks like. He's been wild so far. It would be nice to load the bases for Lee.
Would you really want to leave a cookie going when you're down 5 in the 7th?
Especially if you're Brink, sure.
I mean, if I'm the coach, I'll let him hit, but I'm not the coach, and
he's on.
He took ball 4.
Yeah.
So the bases are loaded, and...
I guess in that situation, Tom, anything you can do to get another base runner on. If you're down by 5, keep it close. It's only the 7th inning, all of a sudden we're saying. It's only
the 7th inning, and dare I say it, the tying run is on deck. Which I don't think anyone would have expected that we would say that sentence before the start of this 7th inning, where it was looking bleak in the Bonn offense, where nothing was happening. They were down 8 runs, and now that big 3-run home run by Philip Llewellyn has really fired up this team again, it feels like.
That's right.
Brought some life in that one.
That's right.
It's ball number 1.
That's why baseball is a beautiful game. It's my favorite game to play, to watch. It's exciting, and you never know what's going to happen next.
And it's so fun. You can't just play down a clock when you're up after you get 27 outs. And there's always opportunities for a comeback as that one. Ooh. Wilson Lee sure wishes he could get that one back. That breaking ball just fell right into his hot zone, right in there. Count is 1 ball, 1 strike.
It's got to be the batter of the game for Bonn. Remember, they've left 6 on at one point earlier on in the game. Bases loaded.
And
twice.
There's a slow dribbler to third, and it gets by the third baseman. And Wilson Lee reaches. That's an error by the third baseman. He couldn't come up with it. The second error of the day for Patrick Music. And everyone moves up 90 feet. And a run comes home to score in Danny Sanchez.
That's right. And now they are very much within striking distance here. And
the Capitals have hit around this inning.
They have. And so remember the error by Lamb Hunt earlier on, just a couple of innings ago, last inning, on that throw to first base. He's now at the plate. Wouldn't it be an interesting thing if he was the one to provide the spark that got them going?
You just said it, though, so it's not going to happen.
Oh, that's right. Oh, I messed up my reverse psychology plan.
Daniel Lamb Hunt, he is the tying run in the bottom half of the 7th inning. The bases are loaded. 2 outs here in game 1 of the quarterfinals, and he swings and misses at that breaking ball.
And he wanted that one. He wants that tying run. No doubt about it.
He wanted to do exactly what you just said. He needs to tie this game up.
Just a little patience. A base hit will also do it. You've got good guys in the lineup. Of course, We know Lamcon could park one. He's got that power within him. The numbers to back it up.
Oh, and he chases another one. Back pick to third. He is safe, just barely.
That was
Danny Lancor's getting back.
Closer than I thought it was.
Closer than it should have been, if we're being honest.
Yes.
But Daniel Evan looking a bit over anxious at the plate. Swung at 2 breaking balls in the dirt. He is down 0-2 in the count.
Now, if you're the pitcher, he's taking.
Go back.
Go back to it. He's
I feel like you have to go back.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Bonn crowd really into the game now. They can smell it.
And he chases that breaking ball. Strikes out on 3 pitches. So Daniel Lampunt makes 2 outs in the bottom half of the 7th inning. The Capitals score 4 runs, are back in striking distance within 4 as we head into the 8th inning here on Caps TV.
Check this out.
It hasn't been such a long time since people first started shopping online, and it was easy to keep up with the clicks. Little by little by little by more, the clicks added up to be more than the stores, and e-tailers worked harder than ever before, because they had to keep up with the clicks. All of a sudden, there are so many must-dos if you want to keep selling, like delivery there, no there, or there.
And make it tomorrow. First thing.
No time for borders. Gotta stay in control to stay in the flow and continue to grow. But we'll help you. Keep up with the clicks.
Los geht's im 8. Inning. Erster Schlagmann für München mit der Nummer 34, William Thorpe.
Danny Sanchez back out for the 8th inning, facing 7, 8, 9 in the batting order of the Haar Disciples. William Thorpe starting it off. He had that bunt single in the 6th inning.
So here's his playoff stats. His average is 500. In the season, it was 160. That kind of tells the story of today.
Improvement. Definite improvement on the Haar side of things.
Yeah.
All right, so last week when you were asking me your weekly trivia question,
When
you mentioned...
when I was so nice to you.
As that one's foul to the left side. You mentioned how you loved answering trivia questions,
No,
right?
I love asking trivia questions.
Sorry, got that wrong, but now I got them prepared anyway. So let's get going. In the modern... it's an easy one to start us off. Come on.
Yeah. Don't say it's easy and then I get it wrong.
It's a very hard one to start us off.
All right.
In the modern era of baseball, which team stumbled through 1962 on their way to the most losses in a regular season? Was it the Phillies? Was it the Red Sox? Was it the Mets? Or was it the Cardinals?
Could you repeat it?
In the modern era of baseball...
Modern era, okay.
Which team stumbled through 1962, so the season of 1962,
Yeah.
on their way to the most losses in a regular season in modern era baseball?
Mets.
You're absolutely right.
Thanks.
Your natural talent. That one misses for ball 1. Because during the 1962 season, the New York Mets struggled through several lengthy losing streaks at 17, 13, and 11 games. On the flip side, the most wins in a row the team had that season was 3.
3.
That was fun. They finished the season 40 and 120.
Had the Athletics won 3 in a row this year? I think they have.
I think they had
4 in a
the
row at one
longest
point.
winning streak this season. It was, or one of the longest. It was like
Did they?
8 or 9 games.
The
It was
A's.
crazy.
No.
The A's at one point, but I might be wrong. As the
I'm-
count fills up to William Thorpe.
Yeah.
3-2.
I want some stats on that. I mean, you could be right. I find that really hard to believe. The Mets, though, I love those old stories of how bad the Mets were. They're just they're just
Repeating
great
this
stories.
season.
Oh, but nothing brings me more joy than that. Nothing like listening to a New York team go entirely down the tubes. It's a joy. It's a delight, and I can see Fabian over there at the camera. He's crying, but too bad.
Ball 4 as that one gets to the backstop, and William Thorpe gets on to start off the 8th inning. All right. I got like the second one, which is more like of a fun question, and it's just mostly guessing, right? I read the story and was like,
Fun
I
for
gotta
you.
include that.
Fun for you, maybe. Go.
Which legendary player once flipped his bat in anger after a strikeout, and in horror watched it strike his landlady, who was sitting in a seat he had provided for her? That's one you should really know. Was it Ted Williams? Was it Babe Ruth? Was it Joe DiMaggio? Or was it Yogi Berra?
It sounds like a Yogi Berra to
That's
me.
why I included him, but it's a Ted Williams one.
Totally. It was bait. It was bait.
But that's a great story.
As we wait for this next play, who was the guy that kicked the water cooler the other night in Seattle?
And Jared Kelenic, who broke his foot on the water cooler, right? That's a fun one as well.
Not like going back to your teammates. Guys, I got something to tell you. What'd you do, man? I kicked the water cooler, man. just what a stupid thing to do.
And even better if you know that Jared Kelenic is top 5 in all of Major League Baseball in strikeouts, so he strikes out a lot, and he still gets angry about it.
Yeah, unbelievable. And not only that, he's facing a pitcher I think is throwing 103 or something like that, and it was entirely reasonable why you'd strike out, but apparently the wall or water cooler, whatever it was he kicked, was the fault.
Getting back to the action, Miguel Pinheiro stays alive as he fouls that one off to the right side.
Who was it again? It wasn't Berra. Who was it?
It was Ted Williams.
Ted Williams, really?
Yeah. It's crazy that the wildest stories always happen to the big ones in the game.
Yeah, you know.
As a broken bat, chopper back to Danny Sanchez. He goes to second for one, over to first for the double play. Nicely turned by the pitcher, who you could see he's not usually a pitcher, but a third baseman.
For sure. Totally. Nice to have those guys out on the mound in times like that, and that was a nicely turned double play, as you said.
The bat went farther than the ball there. That was some firewood. But base is empty, 2 down. And Neil Schmidt coming up for the 5th time. And that's not something you see every day as the number 9 hitter.
No.
And they're going to tell you, oh, you're going to hit 5 times today.
Let me tell you, though, breaking someone's bat, it can be a little pricey. The firewood is. So
you would know.
I was borrowing Tom's bat when we were practicing, and a really powerful pitcher was on the mound. Oh, no, wait, it was Max, Tom's brother. So I took a swing. It was an inside shot because, he can't throw one down the middle and beat me. And I took a mighty swing like Casey at the bat. I did make contact, but the bat shattered. And I think Tom had just finished telling me how I'd had this bat for 5 years. And it's a beautiful bat, and I love it so much, and I sleep with it at night. And so I felt so bad. Angela's giving me a hard time up here. Says there's a game going on.
Count is 2-2. Junior Schmidt.
Point being, don't break someone else's bat.
Yeah, probably a good thing. You're right. But the new one you got me is fire. I mean, I love that. As Neil Schmidt strikes out swinging, good inning by Danny Sanchez as he doesn't allow a run. And no runs for the Disciples. The score is still 11-7 after 7.5 innings of baseball. At the start of the bottom of the 8th, there's a new pitcher on the mound for the Haar Disciples is number 1, Lukas Steinlein. After Jan Andrea allowed 3 runs in just 1 inning of work, now there's Lukas Steinlein.
We're in the land of opportunity. If you look at the stats, if you're the Bonn Capitals, he's got a 2-4 record. That's 2 wins, 4 losses, and an ERA of 6.57 in 12 innings pitched. He's walked in those 12 innings 13 guys and struck out 9 of them. So,
did you just say he was 2-4 in 12 innings pitched? That's really effective.
I'm looking at
How
it
does he
right
have
now.
6 decisions in just 12 innings of work?
Wow.
All right, he's facing Luis Martin.
So he's been in some key situations, some turning points of games, and this may be another one.
And the count is 2-0 to Luis Martin, who's just in there for his second at-bat of the night after joining the game
one, though.
as a defense replacement. Exactly, he's 1 for 1, batting 1,000 in the playoffs.
Nice.
Shows Bonn, pulls it back, but that's in there for a strike. 2-1. Number 19 playing third base for the Capitals. 6 more outs to go for the Caps, trying to get back into this one. Trying to avoid going down 0-1 in the series. As the count's 3-1.
Let's see. I mean, yeah, it's entirely possible. I know I've said that so many times, but when you've got this, when you've dug deep into this bullpen, wow, it is. We say Bonds is thin. Well, this is also thin on this side, and there's no reason why they can't get another 4.
That one's outside for ball number 4.
Looks like the umpire thought about that one. Had a little second thought on it.
He did. The good thing about him taking a bit longer to call strikes is you can just start running towards first base, and maybe
You're halfway
will
there.
say, all right, you're already there. Just take your walk.
Well,
come
it's
on.
Really nice hustle out of the box. Yeah, so leadoff runner is on. If you are Haar, that is the last thing that you wanted, was to walk that leadoff guy. Now, can Aarons turn things around in today's game? He's over 3. He's got a run and a walk. But he'd like to hit, I'm sure.
Watches that one. Miss high and away for ball number 1. Shine line not really finding the strike zone so far as the infield shifts back over to the right side with the lefty Vinny Arons batting. And that one misses high as well. So 6 out of 7 pitches Steinlein threw so far were balls. And this game, all of a sudden, honestly, it's back in reach. It feels like it's back in reach for the Capitals.
Agreed.
Really long game, a lot of offense, playing 3.5 hours already in the bottom of the 8th.
But it only feels like 4.5.
2-0, the count to the Bonn catcher as he takes a mighty hack at that. He was right on that, just missed it. It was a bit under it, fouled it straight back, but had the timing down on that fastball.
As the geese fly by, these rotten geese that go number 2 all over our field next door. If you could just time that foul just right, take out a couple of these so-called wildlife foul creatures. Foul is the key word there. Sorry, am I upset about this? Every time I go running on that field, it's like I've got to peel the duty off my shoes.
2-1. 2 RNs, and he lines one.
He's on
just foul is what I would say. There's no signal by any umpire yet, but everyone's
he's getting to it. He's getting to it.
2-2. But once again, Mina Aaron seems to be looking fastball, and only fastball all of tonight. I mean, he was early once again on a fastball, and I don't want to think about what's going to happen when Steinlein throws something off speed now. 2-2. Because Vinny Arons is just, so far as he's been selling out fastball.
You got to think he's got to know that's coming.
I mean, he's a catcher. He should. And he got a fastball, and he was waiting for it again. Pops it to the right side. Is it going to stay in play?
No foul.
It's just barely over the fence.
Oof. You know what? That says a lot about the pitcher as well. You throw 2 fastballs that he's all over like a dirty shirt, and then you throw a third. You're playing with fire when you do that.
Or he just doesn't have too much confidence in his secondary stuff. Might be the thing as well for him. Might not be able to locate that at the moment. Not have great confidence. But Vinny Irons was once again way ahead of that. On 2-2. So he'll go again.
Reminder, another game tomorrow at 1 o'clock. We'll be here.
And there's the changeup, but he managed to hold back on it. Good take. How's that one in
he
the
knew
dirt?
it was coming. You have to know after 3. Yeah, so again, tomorrow, 1 o'clock, we will have a whole new stack of material for you for tomorrow's game.
Swapping roles in the commentary booth, all that fun stuff.
As I look at Tom, I hope you're prepared.
Arons has worked it full, and another good swing, and another fastball that he was all over.
We haven't had many foul balls today. Usually the kids are out and running for these balls, and today they haven't had many to run for until now.
Yeah, but Arons, at least he's all over the fastball.
That's right. And
Steinlein can't get the fastball by him, but he can locate the changeup,
but
at least so far.
He keeps throwing them, though.
He keeps throwing them. On the full count, don't want to walk 2 people on to start the game.
There go the awful geese. There's yet another dozen flying in. They're like, what position does Kerrigan play? Left field? Okay, I know where we're going to go. Look, and they landed in left field. I can see it.
Did. Delivering some specialties for you, just for you.
I saw them eating sausages out earlier. Just anyway.
Another 3-2 pitch, runner on the move, and another fastball that Arons is all over, and he fouls it off.
Did you see who was on deck, Llewellyn? Did you see him on deck? I think in defense he turned around, he bunted that ball.
He bunted it because that foul ball was heading right for his chin area. Kept it in front.
Good reflex. You know, he really has had a good game on and off the field.
And if Arons gets on, he might be asked to bunt when the runner's on first and second, no outs. I mean, being down 4, it's a bit...
As hot as he's been, though, today, I mean, yeah.
But really good at bat here by Vinny Arons. He's going to see another 3-2 pitch from Lucas Steinlein. As he grounds it, foul once again. And still early on the fastball.
Yeah.
Still early on the fastball. He's seeing
Look
him
at the,
really
listen to the fans. They know. They know Arons is so close. So close on these pitches.
Yeah, he's seeing him really well on the mound, but it just can't get that last bit of timing down to be on it and drive it into fair territory, because he's seen him really nicely, and crowd just absolutely loving this at bat. It's 10 pitches now.
And this is how you get back in the game even more. Deliver on this, keep that momentum going.
Another 3-2, Martin on the move, and another foul ball. This one had home run distance on it.
Yeah, and that one might get a goose.
All
That's great.
Over Steinlein at the plate. He cannot get him out.
He's got it just a quarter of a second slower on that swing, and he'll straighten that out, and it's going to be sweet.
Definitely feels like a turning point in this game.
Yeah, for
for
sure.
either side. This has just gotten into just being a mental battle between the two. Next pitch.
In the dirt.
Scared. Steinlein realized I can't get any fastballs by him. Went for the curveball, couldn't find it. And what a plate appearance by Vinny Arons.
Thumbs up on 2 thumbs up for Arons on that. Absolutely waited him out, knew what was happening. And out comes the coach now. Looks to his bullpen. Is anyone in there?
Back-to-back walks. And I'm actually not sure right now. Is there a 3-batter minimum rule in Germany? Because he only faced 2 so far. There is what Angela is saying to me. So he can't take him out yet, even if he wanted to. He's only faced 2 batters, even though seemed like a bit of a longer time. I'm looking out to the bullpen. It's just warm-up catchers standing on something.
No, there's somebody up now. I can't see the number 20 of. Yeah, so they've got some action in there.
But Steinlein will have to face at least one more batter.
Steinlein having a tough time of it, nobody out, of course. It took him 20. He's 2 batters, 24 pitches, 2 walks. And I think 3/4 of those were 2 errands.
And that's going to bring up, we're going to have 2 runners on base for the Capitals. Both reached via the walk. Nobody out for Phil Llewellyn, who's having himself a night. 3 for 4.
Yeah.
That big 3-run home run that really got this rally started in the 7th. Such an important hitter right now.
Yeah.
And he was looking at his third base coach, like, don't tell me to bunt, don't tell me to bunt. I want to hit. And I feel like he's going to be asked to hit.
I think you got to hit. Especially you're reaching the bottom of the order. Let them do the bunting. I want to see some power up there right now.
So Llewellyn against Steinlein. 2 runners on for the Capitals. Corners playing in, expecting the bunt, and Llewellyn shows bunt, pulls it back, and watches it.
Sorry, I don't agree with this as well. I think you've got to let your big dogs hunt.
And I mean, 4 runs back, you don't want to sacrifice one of your 6 outs you have left. I mean,
yeah.
Might have been just a fake, just to get the infield to play in.
Yeah, because he wasn't coming. Sanchez wasn't coming down from second.
So, down 0-1 as you watch that. 4 strike 1. And now, we'll see if he shows bunt again. He doesn't, and takes that one in the dirt. Pick back 2 seconds.
Don't want that again.
Luis Martin just manages to scramble back into the base.
We saw that earlier, a pickoff play.
And
I mean, not the same play, obviously, but runner caught it second by the Caps.
So important to not give away any outs for free. Just fight for every single out. That's what Capitals will have to do. The count is 1-1 to Llewellyn. Takes his time getting back into the box. And now Steinlein getting set and delivering. And in the dirt and gets by the catcher, William Thorpe. And that's a huge break for the Capitals as both runners advance 90 feet. And it takes away any double play possibility for the Disciples. So that's big as both runners advance into scoring position on that wild pitch.
Yeah, total exposure here for the pitcher. And the shallowness of that bullpen for Haar.
And Llewellyn playing some mind games, swapping out his batting gloves, not feeling great about the older ones, which he just hit that home run with last inning.
Pulls out old pink. Here they come. So let's see if these are what will make the difference. I mean, 2-1 count. He's feeling pretty positive about them. Sometimes, though, right? You know, as a hitter, you put your hands in some gloves, and it just doesn't feel right.
Right. But swapping from green to pink, how do you have green and pink batting gloves? That's wild.
He's got a gut feeling. These baseball
players.
And
now the pink batting gloves with his green cleats, that's the look he's going for. Runners on second and third, nobody out. The count is 2 balls, 1 strike.
Success doesn't clash.
Oh, big swing, and he was just behind that and underneath it.
Look at him. He's so animated. He really wants this bad. Remember when he got the single last time? He was at first base, really urging everybody on as well.
Big spot. 2 balls, 2 strikes the count to Llewellyn, who does strike out a good amount of times.
But not this time, right? We got to watch the predictions. That's right, reversal.
But he'll get it, try to get it somehow. Get it up into the air, get it deep enough to score at least 1 run. Just find a gap somewhere, as that one is way high for ball number 3.
Yeah, he's just hanging on right now. Who do they got in the bullpen, though?
There is somebody up and throwing, but I mean, they will have to keep tomorrow's game 2 in mind as well. I mean, they can't just throw out every arm they have. 3-2 pitch to Llewellyn. Down in the dirt. Another good take. And the bases are loaded. Back-to-back walks are never something you want to do when you're up 4 in the 8th inning.
No,
that's for sure.
Wouldn't say it's in the playbook.
And Llewellyn hyped up about that one, trying to fire up the crowd, the dugout, and especially Anthony Klinsing is coming up to bat. 0 for 4 for him. So what better way to turn it around for him and to come through in this situation. And Steinlein got to factor in, he's feeling some nerves out there as well. I mean, it's a big spot for these guys. Haar haven't been in the playoffs the past couple of years. He looks like a pretty young guy out there, not too much experience in playoff situations. And a big swing way out in front of that breaking ball by Anthony Klinsing.
You got to keep your cool in these situations. It's an exciting at-bat. Everybody's amped up. But remember, he's pitching poorly, throwing a lot of balls. The last thing you make him throw you a strike. Don't be chasing.
Absolutely right about that. And the next pitch, and way behind that fastball. So Klinsing struggling to pick up Lucas Steinlein so far.
Yeah, he's doing the right thing. Step out, take a breath.
But now he's, of course, in a bad spot. 0-2, and way behind the fastball, but way out in front of the breaking ball.
Well, you know you're going to get another fastball.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, I have a feeling that there's not much to this repertoire.
All right, 0-2 the count. And that one, breaking ball.
All right.
Outside.
Stand
Keeping
corrected.
the predictions
Once a day.
coming.
Once a day I'm wrong.
Or today, once a day, we are not wrong. Not excluding myself there. Steinlein stepping off before the pitch. Count 1-2. Crucial at bat for Anthony Klinsing and the Bonn Capitals. And the pitch. Ooh, just got a piece of that one. He was fooled on another off-speed pitch. Somehow managed to get a bat on that and foul it back.
That's right. It was pretty close. As the umpire actually does Klinsing a favor by slowing things down and
maybe the umpire is feeling the pressure of the situation as well.
Maybe
I want to mess up a call now.
Maybe the umpire's got a sore back. It's 3 hours 28 minutes so far as the game time. The umpire's just like, okay.
It's a tough job back there. Being in your gear for 3.5 hours and counting. And half swing. He did not go.
I would
William
agree.
Thorpe very animated about that. Thought they got Anthony Klinsing to swing.
Yeah.
And to chase. And Fredrik Llewellyn from first base just firing up his teammate.
That's right.
Telling him, you're the man, you can do it. You can come through in the spot when we need you.
He's still going.
It might just be the right thing.
Yes.
2-2 the count. The pitch by Steinlein. Fastball misses up high.
That one smelled good.
Long frame by William Thorpe. And the crowd getting into it again. Another very good battle. Another very good plate appearance by a Bonn hitter in this inning. They've worked themselves to 3 walks already. The bases are loaded. There is nobody out. Now it's time for them to capitalize and to get these runs home, get these runs in, and get back into this game. 3-2 pitch. Strike 3 called, and Klinsing knew it. The nerves for him taking over is what it looked like from up here, because he knew it. And he felt like maybe if I just I could get a walk.
But let's not forget, Tom, 1 out only.
1 out only, exactly.
1 out only. It is the bottom of the lineup.
But there is no real weak spots in this lineup. The 8-hole hitter, Danny Sanchez, hit .260 on the season, which is very, very average.
Sorry.
So bases loaded, 1 out for Danny Sanchez, who is 1 for 4 on the game, scored a run, flew out 3 times. And that first pitch up high, and he checked his swing, did not go. Of course, in a pressure-filled situation, every check swing, they're going to check down there to first base if he indeed swung on that pitch, or did not.
Nobody being held on.
Luis Martin at third, Vinny Arens at second, Fredrik Llewellyn at first, Danny Sanchez at the dish. And that's up high as well. So now Steinlein missing with his fastball. And he's now taking a bit of a breather out there on the mound.
It's been a hell of an inning for him as well. So far, damage has been limited.
But nowhere to put him. He needs to find his way into the strike zone against Danny Sanchez. And the 2-0 pitch. Chases one, way outside. Awkward swing.
Again, pitcher who's struggling to throw strikes. Can't find the strike zone sometimes. Don't help him.
if you're in a 2-0 situation in that spot, I feel like you just want to swing at everything that's close because you just want to be the hero and make something big happen.
Yes, but what would also help is a single would be just dandy as well.
Just a walk would be fine for the Capitals as well. And he chases again. He looks very, very uncomfortable out there in his swing right now. Danny Sanchez stepping out of the box while swinging, just chasing.
Yeah, and it looks like Simon is also gaining some momentum now.
Of course, he is
After
showing
that
he can
strikeout.
get the fastball by him. So 2-2 the count to Danny Sanchez. And the pitch. And he swings and drives it to pretty deep right field. Nate Thomas over towards foul ground, and he drops the ball, but in foul territory and crashes into the wall. It looks like he's more mad with himself about not catching that than he is actually injured.
Just off the tip of his glove.
And he also looks like he dropped his glove into the netting over there on the batting cage, but he's found it now. So that was not an easy play, that's for sure. He was running towards the wall in the batting cage out there, but the ball did touch his glove. It went off his glove and dropped. It would have scored a run, but it would have also been a very big second out for these Haar disciples.
Sure, I think there should be a new rule in baseball. You lose your glove in the stands, you got to play the rest of the inning without your glove. Let's make it cricket. It adds a dimension. Anyway, back to the game here. Big moment.
Count still 2-2 to Danny Sanchez. That swing looked way better, way more comfortable. He put a good drive into it towards the opposite field. Let's see if he can find it again. Another 2-2 pitch from Steinlein.
No, he didn't.
Breaking ball. He did not go.
Nope.
Good take. Another very good take. And
Full count. This is the pitch. I would say this is probably the pitch of the game.
but I felt like that a couple of times already, and it's always gotten even better.
Up to this point.
3-2, bases loaded, 1 out for Danny Sanchez. And the pitch, and he drives it to center field. That's going to be caught out there. Both runners, all 3 runners are tagging actually, and everyone is safe. So a sacrifice fly. Sacrifice fly for Danny Sanchez. Brings home the 8th Bonn run.
And that was good heads-up base running by the Capitals.
By Vinny Ahrens and by Fredrik Llewellyn, but it looks like the Haar disciples are going to appeal if the runner from third left early. From what I could see, he did not, but I don't know. And especially I don't know what the umpires saw and what they're going to say towards the appeal, but it definitely looks like they're going to throw an appeal over there. Runners now at second and third with 2 outs. And what we saw, Steinlein stepping off, now throwing to second. And the appeal, runner safe, they left in time. So very important for the Capitals, who are now officially within 3 runs. And 2 more runners out there, both in scoring position. As you said, heads up base running by Fredrik Llewellyn to also tag up from first base to second.
Yep.
So now there are 2 more runners in scoring position for Danny Lankhorst.
Danny Lancor wearing silver, hoping to be streaking across the bases quite soon.
First pitch by Steinlein, breaking ball too low, and he manages to hold back. We've seen some good approaches by these Capitals hitters. There's no easy takes. They're not giving away any pitches. They always start their motion, start their swing, and then just when they see it breaking, they decide not to swing. They're really on top of their game right now here in the bottom of the 8th, down 3. The tying run is at the plate as he drives a hard-hit ball too short, and it's bobbled at short, and no play is made. That was a very hard hit by Danny Lankhorst. I'll give him a base hit on that.
Yeah, when we get into these pressure moments like this, really the strength of the ball team and the weaknesses of the ball teams come through. And we can see that now with the shortstop. We've seen a couple miscues out there.
That was not an easy play. I mean, that was hard hit.
Play. No, but in a tight game like this, you want to be making those plays. I mean, when you're now they're only down by 2.
I know.
What was this?
Catcher was running off the field. thinking they got a third out somewhere.
A little confused as to what was going on.
I think they might have applied a tag somewhere and thought they got a runner. But
They had the ball at third base. I thought they were trying, the hidden ball trick?
But now Capitals within 2. The score is 11-9. 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th.
And here's the guy.
Here's the hottest Bonn hitter throughout the entirety of the season.
And again, this is why baseball is a great game, because here is Bonn's best player.
Here is Eric Brink. Big spot. Takes pitch. Number 1 for ball number 1 on the high fastball.
Fans excited for sure now. They're really into it. Boy, that's paid off. There was some lean innings there for at least the first 7 hours.
Runner on the move to second base. No throw by William Thorpe. And the stolen base for Danny Lancor, which puts the tying run in scoring position.
Nice steal.
And a speedy guy in that. A single by Eric Brink could quite possibly tie the game.
That's why that is actually a very, very smart base taken. It puts that tying run on at second base.
And the pitch was a strike to Eric Brink, so the count is 1-1 to the Bonn shortstop. All the emotions, all the adrenaline, and it's only game 1 in the series as he takes that one.
This is what we needed the first part of the game, is this excitement. Finally, we're getting it. We're getting the payoff now, so enjoy as you watch. We're enjoying here.
After the steal, first base is open, but next batter up is Wilson Lee, and I don't think you want to walk anybody to face Wilson Lee with the bases loaded in a situation like this. And that one's just up for ball number 3. So great hitters count for Eric Brink, and it's maybe a question of if Lucas Steinlein can find the zone more than if he wants to pitch to Eric Brink.
This is the pitch of the game, Tom.
Once again. And there's some more action in the Haar bullpen. But we're going to see the 3-1 pitch. And mighty swing, fouls it back, and now we're going to see the pitch of the game.
Now it is
on 3-2.
It's true. It's true, and boy, he wanted that one bad, and that was his pitch.
And now, important for him not to get over anxious, not to chase, but have patient at bat. And
can I assume breaking ball? I don't know if I throw it on a 3-2 count, but
I don't think so. I can't imagine 3-2 breaking ball, but it could be very effective. It's important for Eric Brink to know he doesn't have to be the one to do it. If he walks and sets the table for Wilson Lee, that's also more than fine. 3-2, 2 outs, runners at second and at third. The pitch. Oh,
got a piece.
Just got a piece.
Just got a piece. I mean, look, I also want to see Wilson Lee. I'd like to see the MVP do his MVP thing. Number 30 is there's probably not much in the game anymore that can phase Eric Brink. He's seen probably almost everything. And so
I do feel like his heart rate might be a little up either way.
Sure. But
so is Steinlein's on the mound. Another 3-2 offering on the way. And he drives one to center field, but that's going to stay in the ballpark. Just a couple steps ahead of the track, and that's Josef Rosenthal making the catch for the 3rd out. But 2 more runs for the Capitals, and they're within 2 heading into the 9th. Top of the 9th inning. It's Haar 11, Bonn Capitals 9. Action-packed game 1 of this quarterfinal series. It's Danny Sanchez, converted third baseman, now pitcher, still on the mound in his 3rd inning of work. It's been excellent so far. And that one grounded through the hole, through the left side. It's going to be a lead-off base hit for Patrick Music in his 6th at-bat of this game. We're just in the 9th inning. So he's going to be 3 for 6 to start off his playoffs in 2023. And he's on first. Disciples, of course, saw what happened last half inning. They need some insurance. And they're trying to get it out at the top of their lineup. Next up, second baseman Simon Lechner. That one misses low on the change-up by Danny Sanchez. And the count here, 2-0. No movement in the Bonn bullpen, so they're looking for Sanchez to finish this one off. Or maybe get another position player from somewhere else on defense up onto the mound. Eric Brank can definitely throw. That one's misses low. Ball number 3. 3-1's the count to Simon Lechner. Music still at first. And the 3-1 offering. Called strike number 2. And dugout. The Haar dugout not liking that one. Letting home plate umpire Howard Fetzke know it. Now full count, nobody out for the Haar second baseman as that one's lifted into medium deep left center field. Who's going to get it? It's Llewellyn making the catch. Out number 1.
Sanchez has really stepped in there and done a good job to hold things together this late in the game.
Kind of out of nowhere as well. I mean, a few times he's pitched, it's been a bit rough.
Right, and
the Champions Cup, they just used him as a filler in games that seemed to be over one way or the other. And when he came in, the score was 11-3 in the 6th.
That's right, and they probably put him in thinking, well, you know,
the 7th.
We don't want to burn the rest of our pitchers so far. But good on Sanchez. I mean, already 2 strikeouts, 1 walk only, 38 pitches since coming in.
Now he's facing Nate Thomas, right fielder, wearing number 10. Also the 6th at-bat of the game for him, as he is 1 for 3, 2 walks. And ahead in the count 2-0.
Yeah, he's come across the plate twice.
Yeah, he has after walking. But I don't trust my score sheet anymore after
here
almost 4 hours and 11 runs and everyone getting 5-6 at-bats. It's getting a bit wild. And that's a 4-pitch. 3-0 the count to Nate Thomas.
Don't want to be putting another guy on at this point. I mean, not when you're 2 runs behind. You've got a very good chance in the bottom of the 9th. It is a tricky situation now if you're the Bonn coach. What happens if Sanchez starts to struggle here? What do you do?
I think it's got to be Eric Brank,
It's got to be Brank. But I think the thought was, we'll use Brank tomorrow if we need Brank tomorrow. But
we've seen Brank throw twice in 2 days.
That's
he
right.
can surely do it. So, of course, there is a possibility of extra innings. So, they'll have to be mindful. What are they going to do? It does happen to go into extras.
Well, it's been a relatively quick 3-hour and 47-minute game. Extra innings, I'm sure, would be welcome by all.
Speedy runner at first. Speedy runner at the plate. Count is full. One down.
They're playing in on third, expecting maybe a bunt.
But Nate Thomas took the pitch and was low. It was ball number 4, and that lets Simuzic advance into scoring position.
It's one of those games that is a battle of, it's a war of attrition. Here comes Coach Bonn, one of the coaches, out. Check on Sanchez, who's starting to struggle. He's going to take the ball and call for Brank.
And they're going to do exactly what we just thought. So it's going to be Eric Brank, and we're going to have a break as long as Brank throws his warm-up pitches, and we'll be right back after.
Well, 3 hours, 53 minutes.
Good thing they stayed. They got a great balling
Yeah.
game. As that one picked by Vinny Arens, and he keeps it close, so the runners can't advance.
So 14 hits now for Haar. With, of course, they have 12 runs. Bonn, 11 hits. I wish it was 11 runs almost, but and then for 9 runs. And so Bonn has committed 2 errors and Haar 1.
Good sharp breaking ball there by Brink. Quite a good take as well at the plate. As Rosenthal didn't chase that one. So we'll get another shot. Count now full, 3-2. And he lines another base hit into center field. Nate Thomas rounding third. He's going home. The throw by Lancor is offline. And all the runners advance 2 bases. Clutch hitting here in the top of the 9th inning by the Haar Disciples. As Nate Thomas just quick enough to score from second base. And on the throw home by Danny Lancor, both runners advance. Callum Murphy to third. And the batter, Josef Rosenthal, he advanced to second base. So 2 more runners in scoring position. And the Disciples have extended their lead. It's now 13-9 in the top of the 9th inning.
Certainly not what Bonn wanted at this point of the game. A comeback is surely harder at this point.
Definitely is, but it's even harder with an even bigger lead. So they decide to put the infield, bring the infield in on any ground ball, stop the runner from scoring from third base. And that one's called strike 1. And now the Haar dugout really getting into it.
Little vocal. This is hearkening. They've come full circle now back to the first inning.
And surprisingly, the third base umpire telling them that's enough. They don't want to hear it.
Well, it did wake him up. No, of course. He's been in this game. Everybody's had a long game.
As that one's grounded to third, Danny Sanchez looks back the runner and guns out.
We had very good look at that play. Danny Sanchez.
Such a good defender.
Really nice. Look that runner back. Make sure that extra run didn't come through, and now we got 2 out.
And now the infield moves back. Score still 13-9 with the runners at second and third. 2 outs for William Thorpe, the catcher. And imagine catching a 4-hour game and having to hit 6 times. He's going to feel that tomorrow.
Yeah.
Wouldn't surprise me to see someone else catching tomorrow.
No, I think we'll feel it too. Two and 4 on the game today.
As that breaking ball is outside and low for ball number 1.
It's a nice pitch for Brank. No strikeouts yet. No walks either.
Good thing this game started at 5 and not at 7, because it wouldn't be allowed to play anymore actually, because rules by the city officials state we can't play longer than 10 out here. So
that always
only got 1 more hour to go for this game.
Thank God there's no rock concerts or anything like that in the Rye now that also make noise and go
That's
far
popped
beyond
up. Who's gonna get there? That's gonna be a tough play. Llewellyn barely gets there and makes the catch. 2 more runs score for the Haar Disciples. They are up 13-9 after 8.5 innings, and The Bonn Capitals have 3 more outs to go, and it's going to be their last chance to snag away Game 1 victory of the Haar Disciples here on Caps TV. Bottom 9, Wilson Lee starting it off for the Bonn Capitals.
Well, here we are, meat of the order, Tom. There are 4 runs behind. Do you think they're going to do it?
Having my doubts, but it's Lucas Steinlein's still out there. He threw a lot of pitches to get through one inning. He struggled with his command a lot.
Only 46.
Bonn hitters
pitches.
have to be patient and have good at bats. Don't get over anxious and chase pitches.
Wilson Lee's the right guy for not getting over anxious at the plate. And you saw him take one there. That's the patience we need to see.
Now he just needs to not chase anything. Ooh, as he almost.
He almost took out 2 or 3 guys there. As that ball gets fouled into the dugout.
Check swing foul ball as he was pretty late on that fastball. Back-to-back fastballs. He's down 0-2. Anything at the off-speed would really surprise me. As Steinlein shakes off the curveball but settles for the slider. Signaled by his catcher, and Wilson Lee does not chase. That's a good take. That's a quality take.
This is looking good so far. I'm liking it. Look at these. The camera guys are still up, focusing the cameras. Thanks to them. Thanks to everybody who's working on the game, Tom and Angela, and of course,
you.
Oh, it's that guy. Oh, Max down there, Max Wallace, and Fabian as well. So, as I get a shot of dirty luck from Max. But no, it's a lot of work that goes into these games, so thanks to everybody.
And Wilson Lee just took 2 not too bad sliders. Didn't chase on 0-2. And that fastball's up high. So he's worked himself back into this one from going down 0-2 on 2 fastballs.
Pitch of the game. Pitch the game, Tom.
I don't feel like this one has more tension than the one in the bottom of the 8th. Well, I don't feel like it.
We may yet get there.
Good hack to stay alive. You could tell he was not expecting a fastball there. So good job to get the bat on that, give himself another chance.
Nice swing. He was going for the fences on that one.
Of course, being down 4 and needing to string together a rally, not really what you want to do. You just want to get on. You're going to go with the fastball again. And he swings and misses on that one. So Wilson Lee is retired.
Boy.
He's having a day to forget. 3 strikeouts.
Yeah.
0 for 5. So frustrating day for him, that's for sure. So Daniel Lampund will have to get it started.
That's right. It's been a game of up and down for many players on Bonn and of course on Haar as well. Daniel Lampund 1 for 3 today as for the walk.
That's a good take. 1-0.
Bonn scored 2 runs in the first inning, 1 in the second, and then 4 in the 7th, 2 in the 8th to get us to where we are at 9. For Haar, 6 in the 3rd, 2 in the 6th, 3 in the 7th, 2 in the 9th to get to 13. And that's where we stand.
And those insurance runs are really valuable for them because a 4-run lead is way more comfortable than a 2-run lead is. You can also see the infield playing so far back out on the grass, just wanting to keep everything in front of them. Not allow any bound base runners. As Daniel Lampund has a 2-0 count, and he takes ball 3 inside. So base runners is what they need, and base runners is what they might get.
On deck is Liz Martin, and Vinny Arns is after that if they can get to him.
Having Terrell Joyce still in the lineup would be very valuable here.
You think at this point? Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
But that's the moves they made. They took away their DH. They started him there at DH, and so he's out of the lineup. And Luis Martin will bat for him once again after this at bat is over, and Daniel Lampund pops it up into short right field where Nate Thomas will make the play. So 2 quick outs. And not really anything of the energy we felt in the 7th and in the 8th of the Bonn Capitals, where it very much felt like they could still get back. But now Haar Disciples only 1 out away from a Game 1 victory here tonight.
That's right, and a reminder that there is another Game 2. Well, there's another game. It will be Game 2 of this series, and that'll happen tomorrow at 1 o'clock. So make sure you come on out.
Not too far away anymore.
No, you could just stay if you like. It's good for rain coverage here.
As the first pitch to Luis Martin misses up.
An update now in the score in the game between Mainz and Paderborn. Mainz is up 6-2. That's in the bottom of the 6th. There's a final in that Berlin-Dorn. Oh no, it's not final. It's top of the 7th. They're going also slower speed. It is final. Angela's telling me so. 2-0 Dorn over Berlin.
Luis Martin 1-1 count as he fouls that one back. So the Disciples 1 strike away. And Lucas Steinlein having a really good inning so far. Now getting through these Capitals hitters through this bottom center part of the lineup pretty fast. Of course, Luis Martin not someone you would usually expect in the 4th spot. And he's down in the count at 1-2. And that's swung on and missed, and that's going to do it. By a score of 13-9, the Haar Disciples win a great and, for the most part, very entertaining Game 1 here in the Bonn Rheinauer. They take Game 1 out of the 5-game series, take the away game as well, which is going to be really huge, and it's always very important to take Game 1. Any final thoughts?
Final thoughts on this is I was impressed by Nick Michelli, who started the game for Haar and really did, after some damage in the first inning, really came through, and it shows why he was such a valuable member of the Bonn team. Bonn, it's got to show some of that energy we saw in the 7th and the 8th, and we need to make sure that the fundamentals are being followed on the base paths and in defense. But Tom, kudos to you for a now 4 hours and 7-minute game. Good call. Glad I chose this one to do color and not the main play-by-play. But thank you very much, and thank you.
Thanks for you for joining me by my side today. Don't really have too much to add after that conclusion. We'll be back, and this live stream will start at about 12:45 tomorrow. The 2 of us will be back broadcasting Game 2 from Bonn. But for now, that's going to be all. Good night. And
good luck.